Chapter 1, Reborn at the beginning, standing at the top of life? Master, please wake up. Jiang Chen heard a sweet female voice in his ear. He opened his sleepy eyes and was startled. Who are you? In front of Jiang Chen, there was a hot-bodied beauty kneeling half-crouched. The beauty was wearing a tight maid's uniform, which outlined her figure with graceful curves. Paired with a slender waist and perky buttocks, her body proportions were perfect, and she was simply a natural-born beauty. The beauty tilted her head slightly, looking a little confused. Master, are you sleep-talking? Jiang Chen's gaze slowly moved down from the woman's face and finally settled on her beautiful legs in black stockings. The legs were very long and slender, and when paired with a pair of red high heels, they looked even more seductive. He swallowed, secretly marveling in his heart that this woman was truly beyond compare in beauty. When the woman saw Jiang Chen's straightforward gaze, a barely perceptible blush appeared on her face, but she quickly regained her composure and smiled lightly. Master, I am your personal maid, Yumi Takahashi. Have you forgotten? Jiang Chen calmed down. He remembered that he had failed in business and suffered a relationship setback, so he drank alone until dawn. But when he was leaving the bar, he was hit by a semi-trailer truck and flew into the air. When he woke up, he was here. I've been reborn? Jiang Chen was about to check his phone, but he noticed that his pockets were empty. So he asked Yumi Takahashi. What time is it? Yumi Takahashi blinked her pretty big eyes and said. Today is May 20th, 2014. You are traveling from the island country to China on a private yacht. In a few days, you will report to Jingzhou University. What? Jiang Chen's mouth opened wide, feeling as if he were dreaming. He stood up abruptly, and the deck beneath his feet swayed slightly with his movement. The salty sea breeze blew in his face, blowing away some of his messy thoughts. He looked around and realized that he was indeed on a private yacht with luxurious decorations. Why am I here? Jiang Chen knew his financial situation very well. In his previous life, although he had achieved some success in starting a business and became the owner of a technology company, he made a decision mistake and was then taken advantage of by his partner, who fled with the money and ultimately caused him to go bankrupt. Although his financial situation was still okay, owning a private yacht and such was really a bit ridiculous. Jiang Xiao, what nonsense are you talking about? As the heir to the Jiang Chen group, it is only reasonable for you to own a yacht, isn't it? Yumi Takahashi got up and poured Jiang Chen a cup of coffee. The two white rabbits kept shaking. You must really be sleepy. Here, have some coffee to wake up. Jiang Chen took the coffee, took a sip, and noticed a publication on the coffee table in front of him. The headline read, Jiang Chen Group Chairman Zhang Jiangwo, the richest man in China for the third consecutive year. Hey! How is the richest man in China named after my father? Jiang Chen curiously picked up the weekly magazine and flipped through a few pages, his eyes almost popping out. Isn't this my father on here? Yumi Takahashi laughed. Master, you really know how to joke. President Jiang is a very famous tycoon in our country, and his name is even on the Forbes list. Jiang Chen now understood a little. Not only had he been reborn, but after his rebirth, the identities of himself and his family had also changed. In his previous life, his father Zhang Jiangwo was just an ordinary worker, and in his spare time, he drove a taxi part-time. Together with his mother Wu Xiufen, they worked hard to support him through university. Unexpectedly, in this life, Zhang Jiangwo has become the famous richest man in Asia, a status that is worlds apart. That Yumi, you just said that I am your personal maid? Jiang Chen is a little curious. He knows about maids, but how is this personal maid personal? He has no idea. Yes, my lord. In fact, I have just started working here not long ago. Jiang Chen Group previously recruited island-wide for a maid to serve you. Because I am more accustomed to high-intensity work, I was honored to apply. Intensity of work, so I am honored to have applied. I see. Jiang Chen didn't expect his life after rebirth to be so extravagant, and even the maid was such a top-notch beauty. Where are my parents? Where are they? Mr. and Mrs. Jiang knew you were arriving today and they have been waiting at the Tokyo Bay Ferry Terminal for a long time. Jiang Chen nodded slightly and was about to call Zhang Jiangwo when a system prompt came from his mind. Ding, congratulations to the host for binding to the unrestrained life system. This system will assist the host in doing whatever he wants in this life. System? As someone who often reads tomato novels, Jiang Chen is no stranger to the concept of a system. He never expected to be reborn into a wealthy family, and even more so to be bound to a system. It is true that some people are born in Rome, while others are born as oxen and horses. System, what are your functions? Jiang Chen asked in his heart. This system has many functions. Since the host has just bound to it, I will give you a gift pack. Do you want to open it? Open. Jiang Chen's voice had barely finished when the system's prompt sounded again. Congratulations, host, you have obtained a bottle of beauty enhancement potion. The next second, Jiang Chen felt a bottle of potion appear in his pants pocket. Please consume it as soon as possible. Remember, after binding to this system, you must do whatever you want. Master, what's wrong? Yumi Takahashi couldn't help but ask, seeing that Jiang Chen had been spacing out. Nothing, I'm just going to the bathroom. Jiang Chen walked into the bathroom and quietly removed the potion from his trouser pocket. It was a delicate little glass bottle containing a pale blue liquid. Do whatever I want? Jiang Chen's mouth curled up into a playful smile. He thought to himself, then let's start with this bottle of potion. He carefully unscrewed the cap, and a fresh aroma filled his nostrils, seemingly mixed with a light floral fragrance, which invigorated the spirit. Jiang Chen gulped down the potion, and felt a warm current slide down his throat and spread throughout his body instantly. A few seconds later, Jiang Chen felt a strange power surging within his body. He couldn't help but walk over to the bathroom mirror and exclaim, "Holy shit! How did I become so handsome?" Jiang Chen's already handsome features had become even more three-dimensional and profound, and there was an indescribable charm in his brows and eyes. What was even more surprising was that his temperament had also changed. It was a kind of confidence and calmness that radiated from within, as if the whole world was in his grasp. Is this the effect of enhanced appearance? Jiang Chen muttered to himself. As he walked out of the bathroom, Jiang Chen bumped into Yumi Takahashi's concerned gaze. Master, you. Oh my god. Jiang Chen seems to have become even more handsome. What should I do? He's my type, he's even more handsome than Augury-shun, I can't resist him at all. Takahashi Yumi stared at the handsome Jiang Chen, her legs unable to stay still with excitement, her eyes almost sparking. Young Master Jiang, the yacht will be arriving soon, would you like me to give you a massage? Yumi Takahashi said with a flirtatious smile, then struck a seductive pose. Seeing the hint from the beautiful islander in front of him, Jiang Chen's adrenaline instantly soared. I can't stand it, I absolutely can't stand it. Jiang Chen couldn't help but pounce. Woman, you're playing with fire, be careful you don't get burned. Comb it up, comb your hair up, I'm coming. Chapter 2, isn't this the former university beauty queen? 3 hours later, Jiang Chen lit a 95% pure tobacco cigarette and, while puffing away, mused. Well, the women on this island really are different. Yumi Takahashi, meanwhile, was blushing with embarrassment as she hid in Jiang Chen's arms. What are you saying, Mr. Jiang? That's annoying. After a while, Yumi Takahashi got up, put her hair up in a bun, then looked at her watch and said, Master, your trip is about to end. Are you satisfied with Yumi's service? Very satisfied, quite satisfied. Jiang Chen didn't hide it either. He petted Yumi Takahashi's tender face, then got up, dressed, and walked onto the deck. Jiang Chen stood on the deck of the yacht. The sea breeze, slightly cool and salty, gently brushed his face. The setting sun poured down on the waters of Jingzhou Bay like molten gold, dyeing the sparkling sea surface a gorgeous shade of orange-red. On the dock at this time, there was a silver-gray Rolls-Royce Phantom parked. As soon as Jiang Chen stepped off the yacht, the middle-aged man with a big beer belly on the other side opened his arms and welcomed him. Son, you're finally back, your mother and I have missed you so much. This man was none other than Jiang Chen's father, Zhang Jiangwo. Now that he was all oily and shiny, Jiang Chen almost didn't recognize him. The middle-aged, wealthy woman next to him, dressed in jewelry and designer clothes, was Jiang Chen's mother, Wu Xiufan. My dear boy, come here quickly, let mommy hug you, Mua. Wu Xiufan pulled her son away from Jiang Jiangwo's arms and gave him a fierce kiss on the cheek, leaving a pair of obvious lipstick marks. Jiang Chen wiped the marks dry with his sleeve and asked, Dad and Mom, you're all dressed up like this, I can't recognize you. Hearing Jiang Chen's words, Zhang Jiangwo and his wife were full of confusion. Haven't we always dressed like this? Wu Xiufan asked. My dear, my whole outfit was designed by the Italian stylist Tony. It costs nearly 9 digits in total. Do you think it doesn't look good? How much? Jiang Chen was shocked by the number and subconsciously felt that Wu Xiufan was teasing her. Oh dear, what Xiaochen means is that you shouldn't dress so ostentatiously. People of our status must keep a low profile, right, son? Ah, yes, yes, yes. Jiang Chen was speechless. You're already close to a small goal in this outfit, what more could I possibly say? I'm not worthy. By the way, son, to welcome you to school this time, your father and I have deliberately put down our work and flown to the island country for a few days. We've also just bought a villa in the Jingzhou development zone, and I'll show it to you today. Bought a villa? Jiang Chen still wasn't quite used to her new identity as a rich second generation. In her previous life, Wu Xiufen had to bargain with the hawker for half a day. Just to buy a cucumber. The words buy a villa coming out of her mouth seemed a bit incongruous. Yes, the development zone is not close to here. Hurry up and get in the car, we can get there before dark. At this time, a chauffeur in a suit respectfully opened the back door of the Rolls-Royce for Jiang Chen, and his hand was still on the roof of the car to prevent Jiang Chen from hitting his head. Young master, please. Jiang Chen nodded and leaned into the car. The Rolls-Royce interior is extremely luxurious, with seats hand-sewn from top-grade calfskin that feel delicate and soft to the touch, as if you were gently being lifted up by a cloud. The starry sky ceiling is even more breathtaking, with thousands of LED lights simulating a dazzling starry sky, as if the entire Milky Way had been packed into this tiny space. Dad, does this car belong to our family? Jiang Chen blurted out, immediately regretting it and feeling like he had asked a stupid question. Huh? Why are you acting so strange today? If this car isn't ours, whose else's could it be? Exactly, but there are dozens of cars in our garage, so it's normal that you haven't seen them before. Your father just ordered a Gulfstream G650, so it will be more convenient for you to meet us when you go abroad in the future. It is quite convenient. Although Jiang Chen often traveled by plane for business in his previous life, he basically always bought economy class tickets, and he was more than satisfied with occasionally buying a business class ticket. Now he suddenly has a private jet? Looks like I have to get used to this life of a rich guy. Get used to what? Wu Xiufen asked. Nothing, I mean it's the first time I've come here to study, so I have to get used to the environment and life here. You mean this? It's fine. You going to college is just like getting a gold plating. Our family doesn't need a degree. After you graduate, let your father arrange a position for you in the group to gain some experience for a few years, and then take over from him. So domineering? Now Jiang Chen kind of understood the saying online, 10 years of hard work is no match for someone from a business family for 3 generations. For second-generation rich kids like him, from the moment they are born, their lives, studies and work have all been clearly arranged for them. Compared to ordinary people, isn't this a surefire way to demotivate them? After a short while, the Rolls-Royce slowly pulled into a luxury villa area surrounded by lush greenery. These villas not only occupy a unique geographical location, but also incorporate the essence of modernity and classicism in their design, appearing both understated and luxurious. In front of the villa gate stood 2 rows of top beauties dressed in maid outfits like Yumi Takahashi. In front of them was a butler-like person who said, "Is everyone ready? The master, madam and young master will be here soon, so you must put your best foot forward." Ready! The maids shouted in unison. The Rolls-Royce slowly pulled up to the villa's front door. Butler Fu opened the car door and greeted. "Welcome home, young master." The maids next to him also bowed in unison, greeting. "Welcome home, young master." Jiang Chen nodded slightly, his gaze sweeping over the group of beautiful maids, and suddenly he saw a familiar figure among them. Shit, isn't this the former university beauty queen, Lu Hanyan? Chapter 3 Jiang Xiao, why are you only just here? If you ask Jiang Chen about Lu Hanyan, he knows her only too well. In his previous life, with his hot body and high looks, he was on the list of Jingzhou University's most beautiful girls for several years in a row. More importantly, Jiang Chen also had a story with her. The two had a friendship as close as Guan and Bao. The two initially met because Jiang Chen, with his handsome appearance and good guitar playing, shone at the welcome party and gained a large number of young female fans. Later, Lu Hanyan deliberately designed to seduce Jiang Chen and successfully won him over. Just as Jiang Chen thought he had found a happy love, he discovered that Lu Hanyan was a scum girl. Not only did she have a foot in both boats, she also found it perfectly normal. Fortunately, Jiang Chen also stopped in time and directly proposed to break up after playing enough. However, this relationship had a relatively big impact on Jiang Chen, and it made him understand the saying, licking the dog, until the end you have nothing. From then on, Jiang Chen no longer indulged in male and female love, but buried his head in entrepreneurship. Although he had achieved a little success, he also deeply realized what it meant to have worked hard for 10 years, and how that could not compare to someone else's 3 generations of business. At this time, the butler stood in front of Jiang Chen and bowed 90 degrees, saying, "Young Master Jiang, I am your butler. You can call me Uncle Fu. Master and mistress have arranged for me to take care of your daily needs in the future. If you have any needs, just let me know." Jiang Chen nodded slightly. "Okay, Uncle Fu, thank you for your hard work." "Not at all. It is my blessing to be able to serve you, young Master Jiang." Hearing Jiang Chen's praise, Uncle Fu was a little overwhelmed. "That's enough, son. Dinner is ready, let's go in and eat," Zhang Jiangguo said, and then took his wife Wu Xiufan's hand and strode into the villa. Stepping into the hall, a faint, fresh scent of sandalwood and flowers wafted towards them. The villa hall was spacious and bright, with a huge crystal chandelier hanging in the center, illuminating the entire space warmly and elegantly. The floor was covered in high-quality marble, each piece carefully selected and polished to a smooth surface like a mirror. The dining room is located on one side of the villa. Through the floor-to-ceiling windows, you can clearly see the carefully trimmed shrubs and blooming flowers in the back garden, as well as the sparkling lake in the distance. The view is pleasant and makes you hungry. "Please sit down, master, madam, and young master." The maids began to get busy, each carrying an exquisite silver dinner plate with delicacies made by the 3-star Michelin chef. At this time, Lu Hanyan also walked over with a tray, twisting her waist very hard, as if trying to attract Jiang Chen's attention. "Master Jiang Chen, this is fresh Kobe beef, medium rare, please enjoy." Lu Hanyan respectfully brought the tray to Jiang Chen's table, but accidentally knocked over the glass next to it. Pop! The next second, the glass shattered into pieces, and the red wine spilled onto Jiang Chen's shoes. "I'm sorry, young Master Jiang Chen, I didn't mean to do it. I'll wipe it clean for you." Seeing that she had caused a big mess, Lu Hanyan immediately leaned over shakily, and knelt down to wipe Jiang Chen's shoes. "Hey, what are you doing? You don't need to come tomorrow." Seeing this, Uncle Fu immediately scolded sternly. Jiang Chen waved his hand and said, "What's your name?" "My name is Lu Hanyan." "Lu Hanyan." Jiang Chen deliberately slowed down his speech. "Today you ruined my mood, in a while you come to my bedroom, I want to punish you." After Lu Hanyan heard this, her face instantly flushed. She lowered her head and her voice was as soft as a mosquito's chirp. "Yes, young Master Jiang Chen." "Okay, hurry up and go downstairs and clean up, don't make trouble here." Uncle Fu was afraid that Lu Hanyan would cause trouble again, so he quickly sent her away. Zhang Jiangguo and Wu Xiufan at the table didn't take it seriously. They were discussing a big business deal. "Honey, how's the progress of our group's project in the Magic City, the land next to Lujiazui?" "We've won the bid, construction will start next month, we're investing 20 billion yuan. "That's good, have you taken care of all the connections? If there's trouble, you can ask his grandfather for help." Fortunately, the results of the anti-gangster campaign have been remarkable. There are far fewer people demanding bribes, so there are no major problems. "Good. If there's nothing major, I'll fly to Los Angeles tomorrow to meet a guy named Mike to discuss a business deal." "Okay, be safe, honey." Jiang Chen listened to his parents' conversation and was stunned. A 20 billion project was being discussed so casually at the dinner table? The rich really can do whatever they want. "That's right, my dear boy, now that you're in college, you'll be an adult soon. I'll reward you with a gift." After saying that, Wu Xiufan pulled out a black card from her limited edition Prada crocodile skin bag. Yes, it's one of those black cards that are so common in the novels of the rich and powerful. "This Centurion black card is for you, and this one is a supplementary card, but it also has no limit. You can buy whatever you want with it, just don't stint on yourself." After saying this, Wu Xiufan handed the card to Jiang Chen. From the tone of her voice, it sounded as if she had just given him 200 yuan pocket money. "Mom, this gift is a bit too expensive." "Expensive? Look at your family. Our family is already very low-key." Zhang Jiangguo next to her wiped his mouth with a paper towel and took a sip of mineral water that had been airlifted from Fiji. "Since your mother gave you a gift, I, as your father, also need to show my appreciation. Fu, bring me those green books," Zhang Jiangguo instructed. After a while, Fu came over with a thick stack of property ownership certificates. Zhang Jiangguo started to pick them up. One set for the Magic City, one set for the Capital City, one set for the Deep City, and one set for Hawaii. I'll keep these for myself. After that, Jiang Chen will push the other property ownership certificates aside. Son, these are all yours, just pick one. Dad, is this what you mean by being low-key? Wu Xiufen was so angry that she gave Jiang Jiangguo a tap next to her. What are you doing? Your son has just started university, why are you giving him so many houses? Won't they all be his in the future? Jiang Jiangguo scratched his head, a little embarrassed, and said. You're right. Forget it, son, if you want anything, just tell me, as long as I can do it, I'll satisfy you. Jiang Chen waved his hand. No need, Dad, I don't lack anything now, so let's wait until later. In the time that followed, the three of them enjoyed a lively conversation, exchanging cups and drinking. Jiang Chen noticed that although his parents' status had changed, their personalities had not changed at all. His father Jiang Jiangguo still liked to brag, while his mother would talk enthusiastically about makeup and other topics. After a good meal, Jiang Chen was a little tipsy. Escorted by Uncle Fu, he went to the bedroom on the second floor. When he pushed open the door, he saw Lu Hanyan, who had changed into a more sexy outfit, kneeling on the ground in a pitiful manner, saying, Young Master Jiang, why are you only just arriving? Everyone has been waiting for you for a long time. Chapter 4, She really is desperate to make money. After saying this, Lu Hanyan stood up, helped Jiang Chen to the bed, and then whispered in his ear. Mr. Jiang, would you like me to give you a foot bath to relax your body? Jiang Chen was gently caressed by Lu Hanyan's soft voice, which made him feel a little ticklish, and the slight drunkenness brought on by the alcohol seemed even more intoxicating. He smiled slightly, a hint of playfulness in his eyes, and nodded lightly. Okay, I'll leave it to you. Lu Hanyan was a little flattered to hear this. It's okay, it's what Hanyan should do, Mr. Jiang, you lie back. In no time, she was holding an exquisite wooden bucket in her hands. Steam was rising from the bucket, exuding a faint herbal fragrance, obviously prepared specially for foot bathing. She placed the wooden bucket gently by the bedside and carefully adjusted the water temperature to ensure that it was neither too hot to burn the skin nor too cold to provide the most comfortable relaxation for his tired feet. After doing all this, she gave a light pat on her hands to indicate that Jiang Chen could start. Jiang Chen slowly took off his shoes and immersed his feet in the warm water. Instantly, a warm current spread from the soles of his feet to his whole body, as if the fatigue from the past few days had been carried away by the gentle ripples of the water. He closed his eyes and enjoyed this rare moment of peace and tranquility. Lu Hanyan, on the other hand, knelt by the bed, gently cupped one of Jiang Chen's feet in her hands, and began to massage it meticulously. Her technique was surprisingly professional, and she was able to accurately grasp every acupuncture point with just the right amount of pressure. It didn't hurt, but it effectively relieved fatigue. As she massaged, Jiang Chen felt waves of numbness rising from the soles of his feet and reaching his heart. It feels good. He couldn't help but hum. Lu Hanyan heard this and a more charming smile appeared at the corner of her mouth. Her movements became even more gentle and from time to time she looked up at Jiang Chen. Mr. Jiang, how does it feel? Jiang Chen opened his eyes and said. Not bad, have you received special training? Lu Hanyan nodded shyly. Yes, Mr. Jiang, Hanyan went to a special school some time ago to learn how to serve you well. Sensible. Jiang Chen stroked her head in satisfaction. He had never thought that the previously arrogant Lu Hanyan would one day be so humble in front of him, which gave Jiang Chen great satisfaction. However, Jiang Chen intended to continue to tease her a little to see if she was still as gold-hungry as before. He took out the black card from his pocket and waved it in front of Lu Hanyan. See this card? If you can serve me well today, it will be yours. Really? Lu Hanyan's eyes lit up as soon as she saw the black card, and her saliva almost dripped. Of course it's fake, you're probably thinking about farting. Jiang Chen thought to himself. Mr. Jiang, if there's anything you want Hanyan to do, please feel free to tell me. Jiang Chen's mouth curled up into a smile and said. I heard that you graduated from a dance major, what kind of dances can you do? Upon hearing this, Lu Hanyan gently lowered Jiang Chen's feet and stood up. Young Master Jiang, Hanyan has studied dance since she was young, and has dabbled in ballet, classical dance, modern dance, and even some folk dance. A pole dance party? Pole dance? Lu Hanyan was taken aback, I don't really know how to do that. Oh, that's a pity. Jiang Chen said as he prepared to take back the black card. No, that. I can try it. Lu Hanyan lowered her head shyly, and if you didn't know any better, you'd really think she was a young girl just starting out. Immediately afterwards, Lu Hanyan found a clothes rack to replace the pole. Just as she was about to dance, Jiang Chen threw her a set of black silk from Balenciaga. Here, wear this, it makes it look more professional. Lu Hanyan took the black silk from Balenciaga, and a complex look flashed across her face, a mixture of shyness and a hint of expectation. She glanced at Jiang Chen secretly and saw a hint of a mischievous smile on the corner of his mouth. Although she felt a little ashamed, she had no choice but to go ahead. She quickly changed into the black stockings, and the tight fabric outlined her slender legs, making her look even more charming and attractive. Then, she took a deep breath, adjusted her state of mind, and started to dance. Damn, this Lu Hanyan is really dedicated. I underestimated her before. Jiang Chen shook his head repeatedly. He never thought that after Rebirth, Lu Hanyan's worship of money was even more extreme than before, and she really had no bottom line when it came to money. It is estimated that, not to mention pole dancing, she would not even refuse to practice yoga with her. After a song, the hot Lu Hanyan was sweating profusely, but she did not care about her loss of composure and immediately approached and asked, Zhang Xiao, were you satisfied with what I just danced? The movements were okay, but you didn't put enough emotion into it. You need to keep working hard, Lu. You'll be great in the future. Jiang Chen then slipped the black card into his pocket and dismissed her. That's enough for today. I'm a bit sleepy, so you can go now. Okay, fine. Lu Hanyan was so upset that the cooked duck had flown away that she almost burst into tears, but she didn't dare say anything. After all, this was in Jiang Chen's house. Good night, master. Good night. After saying this, Lu Hanyan respectfully withdrew, and thoughtfully closed the door. Ugh, so boring, I need to find something to do tomorrow. After teasing his ex-girlfriend, Jiang Chen suddenly felt a sense of emptiness. He suddenly remembered that he seemed to have to report to university. Since he was going to report to university, it was essential to choose a cool supercar, but Jiang Chen didn't want to go alone, he needed to find a girl to accompany him. At this time, Jiang Chen thought of someone, that is, Takahashi Yumi, who had had in-depth exchanges with him on the yacht. Jiang Chen took out his mobile phone, looked up Takahashi Yumi's contact information, and then directly called her. At this time, Takahashi Yumi was staying at a 5-star hotel under the Jiang Chen group. She was suddenly a little flattered to receive a call from Jiang Chen. Master, you're still awake at this late hour? Aren't you? Jiang Chen asked in return. Hee, I was waiting for your call, master. Cheeky. Children who lie get spanked. Yumi Takahashi's legs suddenly went weak at Jiang Chen's teasing. Oh, master, please don't tease me. What can I do for you at this hour? Chapter 5, I'm sorry, but I've already ordered this car. You mean there's nothing you can't chat about? Oh, Mr. Jiang, what are you talking about? I'm your personal maid, you can find me 24 hours a day. That's more like it. Jiang Chen let out a cold snort, then said. Accompany me to buy a car tomorrow. Buy a car? Yumi Takahashi was taken aback. She didn't expect Jiang Chen to take the initiative to ask her out, and she was a little flattered. Yes. No problem, Mr. Jiang, I'll dress up nicely tomorrow and I won't embarrass you. After hanging up the phone, Gaoqiao Yumi couldn't help feeling pleased inside. Although she didn't dare to try to climb up the social ladder to Jiang Chen's high branch, she could still daydream a little. The next day, Jiang Chen got up early and saw Wu Xiufan had already packed and was ready to go out. Mom, why are you up so early? Where's Dad? Your father has flown to Kyoto for business. I'm now taking the private jet to Los Angeles. Be a good boy and study hard. Call me if anything happens. Okay, Mom. You too, be careful. I heard that the security there is not good and they like to buy things for 0 yuan. After Jiang Chen had finished speaking, he felt that his worries were a bit redundant. Nowadays, with the level of his parents, they are followed by a dozen bodyguards when they go out, and it is impossible for random people to get close. Oh, my little Chin-Chin has grown up and knows how to care for others. Come here and let your mother give you a kiss. Jiang Chen was shocked when he saw Wu Xiufan pounce on him, so he quickly pulled away. Okay, Mom, don't be so mushy, just go. Before, your father and I were worried that you, being a straight guy, wouldn't be able to find a girlfriend. It seems like we were really overthinking it. Wu Xiufan covered her mouth. By the way, your father also said that he wants to hold a grandchild next year, so try a little harder. Sigma. Jiang Chen had just taken a sip of coffee and almost spit it out. Mom, don't mess around, I'm only this old. Ah, just kidding, go now, my dear. Afterwards, Wu Xiufen, escorted by a few bodyguards, slowly drove out of the villa gate in a silver-gray Bentley. Jiang Chen also took a Rolls-Royce Phantom to the hotel to pick up Yumi Takahashi. Yumi Takahashi got up early, dressed up carefully, and waited in front of the hotel. Today she was wearing a tight-fitting black dress, cut and tailored to fit her perfectly outlining the curves of her graceful figure. The neckline of the dress is cleverly designed, low and not revealing, just right to show off her slender swan neck and delicate collarbone. A touch of delicate skin is even whiter against the black fabric. The most eye-catching thing is the deep ravine on her chest that is faintly visible. It rises and falls gently with her light breathing, leaving people to daydream endlessly. After Jiang Chen got out of the car, he couldn't help but be dazzled. Yumi, you're dressed so beautifully today. Thank you, master. Upon hearing Jiang Chen's praise, 2 red clouds instantly appeared on Gaoqiao Yumi's cheeks, and she then shyly lowered her head. Let's go, accompany me to the Ford shop. Soon, Jiang Chen and Gaoqiao Yumi arrived at one of the most luxurious Ford shops for luxury cars in Jingzhou City. The store displays all kinds of top luxury cars, from classic sports cars to luxurious SUVs. Each model is like a work of art parked on the display stand, attracting the attention of passers-by. Wow, the cars here are so cool. Yumi Takahashi looked around, her heart filled with excitement. She gently tugged on Jiang Chen's sleeve, like a little girl full of curiosity about the world. At this time, a sales consultant in a sharp suit saw this and immediately came up to them, with a professional smile on his face. Welcome, what kind of car are you looking at? Jiang Chen was a little surprised to see such a polite sales consultant. He thought he would encounter a salesperson who mocked him when buying a car, as in some brain-dead novels. But then he thought, Jiang Chen felt that he was a little worried. After all, in a high-end 4S store of this caliber, every sales consultant has undergone rigorous training. Even if you dress in a plain manner, no one will look down on you to your face. At most, they will gossip about you behind your back. Do you have any models from the Koenigsegg brand here? Jiang Chen used to be a sports car fanatic and had studied various sports car brands. His favorite was none other than Koenigsegg. The sales consultant heard this and a flash of appreciation appeared in his eyes, clearly expressing his approval of Jiang Chen's taste. Yes. Please follow me. He then enthusiastically led the 2 men to the most conspicuous location in the store, where a Koenigsegg Agera RS with a unique luster was parked. Sir, you have a good eye. This Koenigsegg Agera RS is equipped with a twin-turbocharged V8 engine, with a maximum horsepower of over 1,000 horsepower, accelerating from 0 to 100 km per hour in an astonishing 2.9 seconds, and a top speed of 447 km per hour. It is truly a land vehicle. He gently pressed the remote control, and the LED daytime running lights at the front of the car slowly lit up, like the eyes of a cheetah, shining exceptionally brightly in the dim showroom. Then he walked around to the side of the car and pointed at the smooth lines of the body, saying, Moreover, the Agera RS suspension system uses the latest active suspension technology, which can automatically adjust the damping according to the road conditions in driving mode, providing the best driving experience whether it's intense driving on the track or daily city cruising. Jiang Chen walked up and carefully examined every detail of the car, nodding his head from time to time in satisfaction. This car, you say it's by a Tifu or not by a Tifu, Halashao or not Halashao? And Takahashi Yumi was even more starry-eyed. She had never been up close to such a top-notch sports car. Okay, I'll order this car. Let's pay for it. Just as Jiang Chen was about to buy the car, a middle-aged man with a fat head and big ears walked towards him. Next to him was a woman with heavy makeup and a thin waist like a water snake. Jiang Chen recognized this woman. It seems to be a quite famous internet celebrity named Su Feier, but the reputation is not very good. It is rumored that she relied on being a mistress and dating a rich man to get to the top. As soon as Su Feier saw the Koenigsegg, she jumped on it happily. Brother Biao, this car is so cool, can you give it to me for my birthday? The fat man called Brother Biao, Feng Biao, looked at the expensive supercar in front of him and hesitated. If you give it to me, you can do whatever you want tonight. Chapter 6, Get them out of here. Su Feier deliberately licked her lips and looked at Brother Biao with seductive eyes. Biao was so captivated that he felt his heart quicken, thinking that tonight was the night. He could afford to buy the car, and it would be a good way to avoid taxes since it would be registered under the company. It would save money and get him laid, so why not? So Biao pinched Su Feier's cheek and laughed. Okay, if my baby wants to buy it, of course I have to satisfy you. Sales, how much is this car? The sales consultant walked up to Fan Biao and politely said. I'm sorry, this Koenigsegg has just been pre-ordered by the gentleman next to you. What? Fan Biao turned his head to look at Jiang Chen and, after noticing that the other party was a young man, said disdainfully. Hey, kid, I'll give you $1 million to let me have this car. In fact, if Fan Biao had spoken nicely, Jiang Chen would not have been unable to let him have the car, but seeing his arrogant appearance, Jiang Chen felt a little uncomfortable. I'm sorry, I ordered this car first, go look at other models. Seeing Jiang Chen's unhesitating rejection, Fan Biao felt very embarrassed and could not help but get a little angry. Hey, do you know who I am? I am the chairman of the dishing group. If you don't agree, I will have to use some special means. Oh? Are you threatening me? Jiang Chen raised an eyebrow. He didn't expect the fat man in front of him to be so arrogant. He guessed that he must have used his status to pressure people a lot. At this time, Yumi Takahashi next to him leaned over to Jiang Chen. Master, I know this dishing group. They are in the building materials business, and Jiang Chen Group is their major customer. Jiang Chen couldn't help but admire a little after hearing this. Yumi, you know quite a bit. Of course. I prepared for months for the interview, and I know everything about Jiang Chen Group. Jiang Chen nodded with satisfaction, very satisfied with Yumi's serious work attitude. Since he knew the other person's background, Jiang Chen didn't care anymore, and said, I'm not going to let you have the car. I advise you not to waste your efforts. Go back where you came from. You. Fan Biao was so angry that his face turned red. The main reason was that this was in front of a woman he had not yet won over, and the fact that he had not bought the car was a small matter, but losing face was a big deal. Brother Biao, you have to do something about this. Is this the only car they want? Su Feier pinched her voice and used an extremely exaggerated clip tone to coo, and Jiang Chen couldn't help but get goosebumps after hearing it. Okay, baby, don't worry, I will definitely satisfy your wishes. Fan Biao scratched Su Feier's nose and then pointed at Jiang Chen and said, Kid, I've already given you a chance, don't blame me later. After saying that, he waved his hand towards the door, and two burly bodyguards dressed in black suits entered in response, instantly coming to Fan Biao's side. Ah Chang, ah Hu. Fan Biao said, this young man doesn't seem to know the rules very well, you help me teach him how to behave. Yes, Brother Biao. After saying this, the two bodyguards rushed up to teach Jiang Chen a lesson. Seeing this, the sales consultant next to him quickly stopped in front of him to protect Jiang Chen. Sir, calm down. This is a 4S store. If you continue like this, we'll call the police. Call the police? Go ahead and call. I'm not afraid of the police. I have people above me. Obviously, Fan Biao didn't take the sales consultant's threats seriously at all. Jiang Chen took the opportunity to take out his phone and call Zhang Jiangguo to briefly explain the situation. Zhang Jiangguo flew into a rage when he heard and cursed. Damn it, the little Karami from Dishing Group, how dare he bully my son Jiang Jiangguo? Okay, Chen, don't worry about it, I'll handle it. After saying that, Zhang Jiangguo immediately called his subordinate in charge of downstream business. Fan Biao, who had a moment ago been pointing his finger at the sales consultant's nose and shouting abuse, was surprised when his phone rang the next second. Fan Biao took out his phone somewhat impatiently and was startled when he saw the name on the caller ID, Chen Tai. This Chen Tai was no one else but a manager at Jiang Chen Group, responsible for liaising with some of Fan Biao's business, and Fan Biao's biggest benefactor. Fan Biao immediately pressed the answer button and asked respectfully. Hey, Manager Chen, why are you calling? How dare you ask? Fan Biao, I'm talking to you, how dare you even mess with the son of Chairman Jiang? Hearing the accusatory tone on the other end of the phone, Fan Biao froze for a moment. Chairman Jiang? Which Chairman Jiang? What other Chairman Jiang? Of course it's Zhang Jiangguo, the chairman of Jiang Chen Group. What? When did I? Just as Fan Biao was about to ask Manager Chen if there was a mistake, he suddenly looked at Jiang Chen to the side and took 2 steps back in fright. Could it be that you are the son of President Jiang? Jiang Chen didn't say anything, but just lightly patted the body of the Koenigsegg, implying, What, didn't you just say that this car must be yours? Now you can drive away. No. Fan Biao was shocked when he heard this and kept shaking his hands. I was just talking nonsense just now, Mr. Jiang. I really didn't know who you were. Please don't be angry. At this moment, Fan Biao felt so much remorse that he could die of regret. If he really offended the Jiang Chen group, not only would the scale of his company's business be cut in half, but with the Jiang Chen group's reputation, if he said something careless, he could face the danger of being blocked by the industry. This is no joke. At this moment, Su Feier, who was standing nearby, saw Fan Biao's servile appearance and felt very ashamed. She then walked up to him and said, Fan Biao, is this really necessary? You brag every day about how amazing you are, but now you can't even solve a problem with a little kid. Anyway, I don't care, I want this sports car, so you figure it out. With that, Fan Biao said nothing and slapped Su Feier hard across the face, cursing. I said, you cheap bitch, you really think you're something, don't you? If it weren't for your attempts to seduce me into bed, do you think you deserve this car? What did you say? Su Feier covered her side of her face, which was burning from the slap, and almost burst into tears. No one had ever hit her before. I said, get out of here right now, and don't make a fool of yourself here. Fan Biao, I'll fight you to the death. After saying this, Su Fei rushed forward, grabbed Fan Biao's hair and tugged him down. Ouch, it hurts so much, you crazy bitch, let go of me. Fan Biao gnashed his teeth in pain, and the two of them wrestled with each other in the middle of the street, attracting a lot of onlookers. At this time, the manager of the 4S shop rushed over with a group of security guards. Excuse me everyone, you guys, get them out of here. Chapter 7, I'll take you somewhere fun. Several security guards immediately stepped forward, grabbed Fan Biao and Su Feier by the arms, and dragged them out. Fan Biao yelled as he was dragged. Jiang Xiao, let's talk about this. You must forgive me, I'll kneel down and kowtow to you. Seeing Fan Biao's reaction before and after, even Jiang Chen was a little surprised. He didn't expect that just a phone call would make the boss of such a big company act like a grandson. Power is indeed the most addictive thing. Ding, detected the host. Playing the face-off and rewarding top driving skills. With the sound of the system, Jiang Chen suddenly felt a strange force surging from his mind, quickly spreading throughout his body. It was as if his body could capture every subtle movement in his surroundings, and even the fluttering of the dust in the air became clearly visible. This is amazing. Jiang Chen then got into the car. At that moment, he could clearly perceive the structure of the vehicle, its weight distribution and even the subtle vibrations of the engine. It was as if he were an experienced mechanic who could intuitively determine the performance and condition of a car. Even the most complex racetrack would be easy for him to navigate, as if he were taking a stroll in his own backyard. Just swipe your card. Jiang Chen said, handing the black card to the sales consultant. At that moment, he couldn't wait to experience his driving skills. Soon the sales consultant had completed the paperwork and handed Jiang Chen the car documents and keys. Sir, please keep these. As a special gift, we are also giving you a license plate with the number Jiang A99999. Thanks. Jiang Chen nodded slightly upon hearing this. A license plate with the number 95999? You need to know that top-level license plate numbers like this are directly linked to status, and ordinary people who have the money can't buy them anywhere. A top-of-the-line Koenigsegg Agera RS sports car with a license plate number of the 5 Emperors is the most handsome guy on the street wherever you go. Jiang Chen rolled down the window and waved at Takahashi Yumi. Yumi, get in, I'll take you for a spin. Takahashi Yumi happily got in the car, then fastened her seatbelt, her expression a little excited and a little nervous. Master, didn't you just get your license? Are you sure you can drive this car? What, don't you trust me? Jiang Chen raised an eyebrow. No, I do. What are you afraid of? I'm an old driver, I can drive any car. Hold on tight. Jiang Chen said, and stepped on the accelerator. With a low and powerful engine roar, the Koenigsegg shot off like a runaway horse, accelerating so fast that Yumi Takahashi couldn't help but let out a gasp and grab the armrest of the seat. Wow, Master, you're amazing. Yumi Takahashi shouted excitedly, feeling a little overwhelmed. Hold on tight, Yumi, the show's not over yet. On the city streets, Jiang Chen drove the Koenigsegg nimbly, easily avoiding the congested traffic. Damn it! What car dares to overtake me? A few taxis that usually rampage recklessly saw a car overtake them and were about to curse. When they saw the Koenigsegg logo and the license plate number 99999, they immediately shut up. Forget it, let you overtake once, never again. Jiang Chen then did not choose the highway, but deliberately picked a winding and complicated path to test the top driving skills he had acquired. Before passing a curve ahead, Jiang Chen suddenly applied the brakes, then quickly turned the wheel, and performed a beautiful drift. The sharp sound of the wheels rubbing against the ground and the smoke from the car's skid made the scene even more shocking. "Wow, Master, you're so bad, I love it." Yumi Takahashi couldn't help but exclaim again. She felt her heart racing, and her whole body was dominated by the hormones that were raging. After a period of speeding, Jiang Chen parked the car steadily on the side of the road and turned off the engine. He turned to look at Yumi Takahashi and asked, "What do you think, Yumi? Am I a good driver?" Yumi Takahashi nodded repeatedly, her eyes full of admiration. "Master, you're really amazing. I think you could even compete in professional races." "Those kinds of races are no fun." Jiang Chen waved his hand. "School doesn't start until tomorrow, so what should we do?" Jiang Chen thought about it for a moment, and then said, "Yumi, I'll take you somewhere nice." What place is it, Master?" Yumi Takahashi subconsciously thought that Jiang Chen was going to take her to a hotel, and instantly blushed. "You'll know if you follow me." After saying that, Jiang Chen stepped on the accelerator, and the sports car sped away again. Jiang Chen drove the Koenigsegg Agera RS through the night of the city, and finally stopped in front of a bar called Zoom. This bar is located in a prosperous area of Jingzhou City. The exterior is understated yet luxurious. At the entrance of the bar, 2 black doors are closed, with golden decorations inlaid on the doors, exuding a mysterious atmosphere. "We're here." Yumi Takahashi was a little disappointed when she saw where they were going. "So it's a bar, I thought." "Thought what?" "I thought we were going shopping." "I actually like shopping quite a bit." Yumi Takahashi quickly changed the subject to hide her inner desires. "I'll take you shopping when I have time." Jiang Chen didn't take it seriously and led Yumi Takahashi towards the bar. Next to the door, several bodyguards dressed in black suits stood straight. Jiang Chen handed the car keys to the designated driver at the door and then led Yumi Takahashi towards the bar door. "Welcome." Seeing this, the bodyguards immediately opened the door and respectfully greeted their arrival. Walking into the bar, a strong aroma hit the nose, a mixture of alcohol, cigarettes, and various perfumes, instantly immersing one in this unique atmosphere. In the center of the bar was a spacious dance floor, above which hung a huge crystal chandelier, lighting the dance floor as if it were daytime. At this time, there were already quite a few people gathered on the dance floor, some scantily clad, hot and sexy beauties, prancing to the rhythm of the music, letting loose their inner passion. "Oh my, Master, it's so lively here." Yumi Takahashi couldn't help but exclaim. Her upbringing had always been very conservative, and seeing this scene in front of her, Yumi felt a little constrained and unconsciously leaned towards Jiang Chen's side. Jiang Chen gently put his arm around her shoulders and said tenderly, "Let's go, let's find a quiet private room." At this time, a waiter in uniform and with a smile quickly came up to them. "Good evening, welcome to the Zoom bar. How may I help you?" Chapter 8, It seems that someone wants to challenge my authority. Jiang Chen smiled indifferently, "Book us a table in room 1. The waiter's eyes flashed with surprise, but then he regained his professional attitude. Room 1 is one of the most luxurious rooms in the bar, and its price is also staggering, starting at 5 digits. It seems that this extraordinary young man, who is a little unfamiliar, must be the son of some prominent family. Of course, please follow me. Through the lively crowd, the waiter led Jiang Chen and Takahashi Yumi deeper into the bar. Private room 2 is located in a corner of the bar, but it has been cleverly designed as a semi-open space, which maintains privacy while still allowing a faint sense of the lively atmosphere outside. Inside the box, the soft lighting creates an atmosphere that is both warm and elegant. The exquisite sofa is covered in delicate satin fabric, and the coffee table is decorated with an exquisite fruit basket filled with all kinds of seasonal fresh fruit, along with a few bottles of high-end red wine waiting to be opened. "Sir, may I ask what kind of wine you would like to order?" the waiter politely asks. Jiang Chen thinks for a moment. Although he doesn't know much about the drinks in this kind of high-end bar, he does know some basic market prices. Holding a glass, she sat opposite Jiang Chen. "Handsome, don't be so cold, shall I tell you a joke?" Jiang Chen raised an eyebrow, indicating that she should continue. "Out of the 365 days in a year, do you know which day has the longest duration?" "No." Jiang Chen shook his head. "The 9th day, because it lasts forever." Ha ha ha. Jiang Chen was speechless at this bad joke. "And also, do you know what one wants no crackers turn into when they get hot?" The hostess didn't seem to notice Jiang Chen's expression change, and she kept on talking nonstop. However, Jiang Chen just listened indifferently, occasionally taking a sip of champagne, but always maintaining an aloof attitude. He understood that these girls were only attracted to his wealth and status. Of course, Jiang Chen didn't look down on them completely. After all, in essence, they were also young people who worked hard for money. Just as the atmosphere in the first deck was getting heated up by the hostesses, there was a commotion outside the door. A group of young people dressed flashily and rakishly surrounded a young man covered in designer brands. One of the thugs saw that the first deck was occupied and couldn't help but fly into a rage. "Waiter, come here. What's going on? Didn't I say this booth was reserved for our Ming?" The bar attendant hurried over and said tremblingly. "I'm sorry, you didn't make a reservation today, and I didn't think you were coming." Pop. Before the words had finished, the thug slapped the bartender hard across the face. "Are you fucking deaf? How dare you disobey our Ming? Everyone in the Zoom knows that this booth is reserved for Ming, who the fuck would dare take it?" The thug roared, his eyes betraying a hint of arrogance. The music in the bar stopped, and everyone's attention was focused on booth number 1. The hostesses also stopped what they were doing and nervously watched the developments. The bartender, who had been slapped, covered his face and a flash of distress crossed his eyes, but he dared not argue and could only apologize meekly. "I'm sorry, I'm really sorry, I didn't know Brother Li Ming would be here, I'll make the arrangements right away. At this, the young man known as Brother Ming curled the corner of his mouth into a disdainful smile. He slowly walked over to booth number 1, looked around at the guests inside, and then said contemptuously, "Looks like someone wants to challenge my authority tonight? Don't even ask, who's in charge in this area? Chapter 9, just you wait, I'll get someone to sort you out right away." Jiang Chen sat on the sofa in the booth, his gaze calmly watching the scene. He didn't say a word, just gently shaking the champagne glass in his hands, seemingly pondering something. Yumi Takahashi looked a little nervous. She whispered to Jiang Chen, "Master, these people don't seem like they'll be easy to deal with, should we?" Jiang Chen gave a slight smile, indicating that she didn't need to worry. "Don't worry, this is a public place after all, they won't dare to go too far, and I'd like to see what this Ming brother is really capable of." Just then, the manager of the bar rushed over upon hearing the news. He looked at Ming and his men with a panicked face, and then quickly went up to apologize. "Ming Xiao, I'm really sorry, this is a misunderstanding, I'll immediately arrange another booth for you, what do you think?" Li Ming glanced at the manager and then snorted. "Other tables? Do you think I'm the kind of person who needs a table? I want this table number 1 today, and you tell these people to get out." The manager's face turned even more unpleasant when he heard this. He looked back at Jiang Chen at table number 1 and secretly groaned inwardly. He knew that although this guest seemed young, he had an extraordinary temperament and was obviously not someone to be trifled with. Just as the atmosphere was about to reach a breaking point, Jiang Chen suddenly stood up from his seat. He slowly walked up to Li Ming and looked at him with a calm gaze. "What if I say that I don't want to let this booth today?" A flash of surprise crossed Li Ming's face, as he clearly didn't expect anyone to dare to confront him head-on. Seeing this, the thugs around him gathered around him, menacingly, like a pack of hungry wolves about to pounce. "Humph, interesting." Li Ming sneered, a sinister gleam in his eyes. "No one has ever dared to say no to me in this Zoom bar, and you are the first." "Do you know who I am?" Jiang Chen smiled slightly, with no fear in his eyes. "Does it matter who you are? All I know is that I booked this booth, and everything is about first come, first served, isn't it?" The air in the bar seemed to have frozen, and everyone's attention was focused on these two people, waiting for a storm to come. The hostesses were so nervous that they didn't dare to breathe, while Yumi Takahashi tightly gripped Jiang Chen's sleeve, her eyes full of worry. Li Ming sneered, took a step forward, and pressed Jiang Chen. "First come, first served? In this bar, I make the rules. You'd better behave, or get out, or I'll teach you a lesson." Li Ming's words carried an unmistakable domineering air, and the thugs behind him also closed in, ready to fight. Suddenly, Jiang Chen heard a system prompt in his head. "Ding, the host's life is detected to be threatened, reward master-level fighting arts." As the system's prompt fell, Jiang Chen felt a warm current surge from within his body, instantly flowing through his limbs and bones. His brain was infused with endless knowledge at this moment, and various fighting techniques, body methods, and moves flashed through his mind at high speed, like an exhaustive fighting encyclopedia. Jiang Chen clenched his fists and felt that at this moment, he could punch Li Ming Xiang out with one punch. He took a step forward, looked Li Ming straight in the eyes and said, You're telling me what to do. You're qualified? You. Li Ming didn't expect Jiang Chen to not only not be afraid, but to dare to continue provoking him. He was furious and ordered, "Break his legs." At Li Ming's order, the thugs all revealed hideous smiles and pounced on Jiang Chen. The first thug to charge forward swung his fist straight at Jiang Chen's face, but Jiang Chen's body tilted slightly, and he easily avoided the blow. At the same time, he quickly grabbed the thug's wrist with his right hand, and with a twist, used the force to throw the thug off balance. Then, Jiang Chen swept his left leg out, sending the thug crashing to the ground with a clean sweep. The next second, the second thug, armed with a bottle of wine, attempted to sneak up on Jiang Chen. Jiang Chen was well prepared. He lightly pushed off the ground with his left foot, slid backwards, and at the same time swung his right hand, accurately seizing the bottle from the thug's hand. He threw it backhand, and the bottle drew a perfect arc in the air, hitting the thug's groin with pinpoint accuracy. Ow! The thug let out a wail, covering his crotch with his hands and kneeling to the ground, his expression full of pain. This scene stunned everyone present. They had never imagined that Jiang Chen had such formidable skills. Li Ming's face turned a terrible shade of gray when he saw this. He had never imagined that Jiang Chen would be such a thorn in his side. Filled with rage, he stepped forward himself, attempting to teach Jiang Chen a lesson using the martial arts skills he had learned on the streets. "Get out of the way, let me do it," Li Ming roared, swinging a punch at Jiang Chen's face. Jiang Chen's mouth curled up in a sneer. Instead of dodging, he stepped forward to meet it. At the moment when the fists were about to touch, Jiang Chen suddenly sidestepped, grabbed Li Ming's wrist with his left hand, and quickly wrapped his right hand around Li Ming's back. With a clever twist, he actually lifted Li Ming's entire body into the air, and then thud landed on the ground, falling on his back. There was an uproar in the bar, and everyone watched this scene in disbelief. They had never seen such a shocking fight before. It was comparable to an action movie. Yumi Takahashi's mouth was also wide open, as if she could stick a long Chinese sausage in it. Li Ming was lying on the ground, his face full of disbelief. He had never been so humiliated. Jiang Chen looked down condescendingly and said, "With your three-legged cat kung fu, you dare to pretend to be someone?" Ding, the host has achieved the shock the audience achievement, rewarding the Beacon security team. Beacon Security? The name Jiang Chen was not unfamiliar. It seemed to be the top domestic security company, composed entirely of battle-hardened retired special forces. Many rich and powerful people had hired them as personal bodyguards at high salaries. "You just wait and see, your fighting skills are useless. I'll call my uncle right now to teach you a lesson." Li Ming was lying on the ground, looking miserable. He struggled to pull his phone out of his pocket and, with trembling fingers, dialed a number. After the call was connected, he almost cried out, "Uncle, come save me. I've been beaten up at the Zoom bar, come quickly." A low voice came from the other end of the line. "Don't worry, my dear nephew, take your time and tell me who dared to lay a hand on you?" "I don't know his name, but he took my place and beat me and my men." Li Ming accused the villain first. "Okay, don't worry, I'll be there soon. It's the Zoom bar, right? You just wait, I want to see who's got such bad eyesight." Li Ming hung up the phone and glared viciously at Jiang Chen. "You just wait, you'll see what I'm going to do to you later." Jiang Chen, on the other hand, looked indifferent. No matter how many people the other party brought, he was confident that he could handle it. After all, not only did he now have master-level combat techniques, but the system had also rewarded him with a Beacon security team. The atmosphere in the bar remained tense, as everyone held their breath, waiting for the conflict that might happen next. Soon, there was a rush of footsteps outside the bar door, accompanied by a loud commotion. A group of people surrounded a middle-aged man in a black suit and a stern face as he walked in. As soon as this middle-aged man walked in, he made everyone in the bar feel a sense of oppression. "It's Du Xiaodong? The head of the Qingyun Society, Du Xiaodong. Chapter 10 Mr. Jiang, please spare me. I heard that the people of the Qingyun Society are ruthless in their actions, and if they don't get what they want, they will have someone poured into a concrete pillar. The police can't do anything about them. I didn't realize that Li Ming was his nephew. It seems that this young man is in danger. Second uncle, you're here." As soon as Li Ming saw the middle-aged man, it was like he had found a savior. He quickly got up from the ground and pounced over. Du Xiaodong gave Li Ming a cold look, then turned his gaze to Jiang Chen. He slowly walked up to Jiang Chen and asked in a deep voice, "Did you hit my nephew?" Jiang Chen stood still, his gaze calmly meeting Du Xiaodong's, not flinching in the slightest. It was me, but your nephew started it first, so don't let him confuse the issue. Oh? A coldness flashed in Du Xiaodong's eyes, and a sense of impending doom filled the air. He leaned slightly closer to Jiang Chen and threatened. Little brat, do you know who I am? Qingyun society is not something you can mess with. Jiang Chen smiled slightly. Qingyun society? Never heard of it, and... He paused, deliberately lengthening his tone. I don't think that your so-called Qingyun society can cover up the sky with one hand. Du Xiaodong sneered, took a step forward, and continued to press Jiang Chen. What a sharp-tongued brat. It seems you don't know the power of the Qingyun society. Today I'll let you know what it means to regret it. Just as Du Xiaodong was closing in, and the tension was at its peak, the side door of the bar suddenly opened, and a group of men in black suits and in good physical shape entered one after the other. They walked straight up to Jiang Chen, quickly formed a line, and protected him behind them. Jiang Xiao, I'm sorry, we're late, said a tall bodyguard with dark skin, who came to Jiang Chen's side and bowed slightly. My name is Jiang Long, I'm in charge of Finghua security, and I'm at your service from now on. Jiang Long's voice was low, and he held a walkie-talkie in his hand as he scanned the room with his eyes, finally settling on Du Xiaodong. Du Xiaodong's face changed slightly, obviously not expecting this from the other party. The thugs around him also began to stir. The others in the bar retreated, afraid of being affected. Who are you? How dare you meddle in my affairs? Du Xiaodong pretended to be calm, but his tone was clearly lacking in confidence. Jiang Chen smiled lightly, turned to look at the Finghua security bodyguards, and a sense of inexplicable security welled up in his heart. He slowly said, What? You're the only one allowed to have minions? I'm so handsome, it's reasonable to have a few bodyguards, right? Upon hearing this, Du Xiaodong's face was unsettled, as he clearly weighed the pros and cons. In the end, he snorted, his gaze darkly directed at Jiang Chen. Kid, you've got guts, but remember, Qingyun society is not something you can mess with. I've got your name today. After saying this, he turned to leave, but was stopped by the Finghua security bodyguards. Wait, you think you can just leave after the stunt? It's not that easy. Du Xiaodong laughed in anger. Do you really think you can stop me? Qingyun Club is not a pushover. Pop. Before the words had finished, Jiang Chen slapped Du Xiaodong directly in the face. Every day you eat vegetarian food, can you change the lines? I'm tired of hearing it. Jiang Chen's movements were lightning fast, and the slap was loud and clear, not only leaving Du Xiaodong stunned, but also everyone else present. 5 bright red fingerprints quickly appeared on Du Xiaodong's face, and his eyes were full of disbelief. He never expected Jiang Chen to be so bold as to dare to hit him in front of everyone. You dared to hit me? Du Xiaodong reached out to cover his cheek, thinking he was dreaming. Jiang Chen, on the other hand, looked indifferent. What's wrong with hitting you? Who do you think you are? Acting like a tough guy here to threaten me? Let me tell you, I, Jiang Chen, am not easily intimidated. Seeing this, the bodyguards from Beacon Security all took a step forward to protect Jiang Chen even more closely. Seeing this, the thugs around Du Xiaodong became restless, wanting to step forward to stand up for Du Xiaodong. However, they were firmly suppressed by the bodyguards from Beacon Security with their eyes and imposing manner, and they dared not move. You, just wait and see, Qingyun will not let you off. Du Xiaodong glared at Jiang Chen, his eyes full of anger. He knew that not only had he lost face here today, but the prestige of the Qingyun society had also been challenged. Pop. I'm not your father, why should I wait for you? Jiang Chen was a little impatient and slapped him again. Du Xiaodong couldn't hold back anymore. He had been in the underworld for so many years, and only he had ever hit others, no one had ever dared to bully him like this. Go get them, kill them all. Du Xiaodong's roar echoed through the bar. Hearing this, the thugs around him took out the daggers and clubs they had hidden and pounced on Jiang Chen and the Finghua security guards with ferocious faces. However, the guards were not in the least bit flustered. They quickly spread out, forming a semicircular formation that firmly protected Jiang Chen in the middle. Facing the attacks of the thugs, they did not choose to fight head-on, but used their superb fighting skills to neutralize the attacks of the thugs. One bodyguard easily dodged a thug's stick attack with a flash of his body, and then quickly struck with a fierce elbow strike that accurately hit the thug's temple. The thug immediately felt like he had been struck by lightning and fell to the ground limp. Jiang Long, on the other hand, was facing 2 thugs at once. He was agile, dodging left and right, and his blows were swift. He landed 2 heavy punches on the chest and stomach of the 2 thugs, who screamed in pain and fell to the ground. The Fenghua security bodyguards worked in perfect harmony, their swift movements quickly subduing most of Du Xiaodong's thugs. Seeing this, the remaining thugs became fearful and tried to escape, but the bodyguards stopped them one by one, preventing them from getting away. Du Xiaodong's face turned ashen when he saw this. He never imagined that the Fenghua security bodyguards would be so powerful, and that his own men would be so easily defeated in front of them. However, Jiang Chen just gave a slight smile, his eyes full of disdain. So-called gangsters, a bunch of cowards, I really overestimated you. Du Xiaodong looked at the situation in front of him, and his anger gradually gave way to fear. He took a deep breath to try to calm his panic, but the trembling of his body betrayed his fear. Jiang Chen slowly walked up to Du Xiaodong and patted him gently on the cheek. Aren't you awesome? Isn't the Qingyun society awesome? Now what's this sorry state? Jiang Chen really wanted to see how this so-called gangster boss would behave in the face of real strength. Du Xiaodong's face was as pale as paper. He knew that he had completely failed today. His knees trembled as he slowly knelt to the ground, his eyes full of pleading. Jiang! Mr. Jiang, it was my fault for not recognizing your greatness and offending you. Please spare me. Du Xiaodong's tone was very humble, and it was clear that he was truly afraid this time. Jiang Chen looked at Du Xiaodong kneeling on the ground, and an inexplicable thrill welled up in his heart. He finally understood that those so-called big shots in the underworld were actually as vulnerable as ordinary people in the face of someone stronger than them. Let you go? Jiang Chen smiled slightly. He knew that with today's battle, he had completely established his authority. Don't you like crippling other people? If you cripple one of your legs today, I can consider sparing you. Chapter 11 Honey, I want a kiss. Upon hearing this, Du Xiaodong's face instantly turned even more ugly than if he were crying. He trembled with his voice, almost about to cry. Mr. Jiang, aren't you trying to kill me? If I lose a leg, how can I still hang around in the underworld? Before Jiang Chen could say anything, Zhang Long next to him was unhappy and went over to kick Du Xiaodong. I see you prefer to suffer the punishment rather than accept the toast. How dare you bargain with Mr. Jiang? After saying this, Zhang Long signaled for his men to drag him out and deal with him. No, I promise. Du Xiaodong said, trembling. He picked up a baseball bat from the ground, slowly raised it as if it weighed 1,000 caddies. Enough of this dragging your feet. Come here. Zhang Long waved at Li Ming next to him. At this point, Li Ming had been so scared that he was dumbfounded. Hearing Zhang Long's instructions, he moved over like a marionette. Zhang Long snatched the baseball bat and handed it to Li Ming. You do it. Me? Cut the crap. Li Ming looked at the baseball bat in his hands and then at Du Xiaodong, who was lying on the ground with a face of despair. His heart was filled with mixed emotions. This. Li Ming's voice trembled. What are you dawdling about? Hurry up. Zhang Long kicked Li Ming in the butt again, almost making him eat the dirt. Li Ming grimaced, feeling like he was being forced to do something he didn't want to do. He looked at Zhang Long, then at Jiang Chen, and finally sighed helplessly. They're forcing me to do this, I'm sorry, old man, just bear with it. With that, Li Ming raised the baseball bat, aimed it at Du Xiaodong's leg, closed his eyes, took a deep breath, and swung down hard. Ah! Du Xiaodong let out a miserable scream, covering his crotch and wailing. When everyone looked, they saw that Li Ming's bat had hit Du Xiaodong's second brother. Ow! Du Xiaodong rolled around in pain, wailing and cursing. Li Ming, I'll kill you. The beautiful sound of Chinese culture instantly spread throughout the hall. Sigh. Jiang Chen watched this scene and couldn't help but gasp. Damn, what a ruthless man. Jiang Chen muttered to himself. No, it should be a werewolf, because it is a little more ruthless than a ruthless man. Immediately afterwards, Zhang Long and the others had Du Xiaodong thrown out, and his subordinates scattered like birds and beasts. General Jiang, we are just outside the bar, if you need anything, just let us know. Well, you've worked hard. There are a few million in this card, so distribute it among the brothers. Jiang Chen took out a secondary card and handed it to Zhang Long. Thank you, Mr. Jiang. Jiang Chen nodded, then waved his hand to indicate that they should leave. After this matter was dealt with, the previous hustle and bustle returned to the Zoom bar. Jiang Chen had a few consecutive shots of whiskey, and felt his bladder getting a little full, so he decided to go to the bathroom and let it all out. Just as he reached the bathroom door, a drunken young girl stumbled into Jiang Chen's arms. Jiang Chen was slightly startled, and when he looked down, he saw a pretty face with closed eyes and seductive rosy cheeks, obviously drunk. Her body was limp and snuggled against Jiang Chen's body, giving him a soft touch. He quickly stabilized the girl's form to prevent her from falling to the ground. At this moment, a burst of hurried footsteps came from not far away. Jiang Chen looked up and saw several rowdy young men approaching. Their eyes swept over the girl, and lustful smiles appeared on their faces. "Hey, guys, look at this chick, she's really hot." One of the young men with yellow hair laughed strangely. Another young man with a shaved head stepped forward and reached out to grab the girl's arm. "Come on, little sister, I'll take you to a fun place." The girl was too drunk to resist, and could only let the bald youth do as he pleased. Jiang Chen saw this and protected the girl behind him. "I'll give you 3 seconds to disappear." The thugs were about to provoke him, but they recognized Jiang Chen as the VIP in the first booth. They still vividly remembered the scene when the bodyguards taught Du Xiaodong a lesson. A boss of Jiang Chen's caliber was a presence they would never dare to provoke. The leader of the thugs swallowed and stuttered. "Big brother, please don't misunderstand." The bald guy also quickly let go of his hand, took a few steps back, and his face was full of a servile smile. "Sorry, big brother, we didn't know that this young lady was your friend. We apologize for any offense caused. Please forgive us." Jiang Chen gave them a cold stare and spat out one word. "Get lost." Hearing this, the thugs felt as if they had been pardoned and quickly left the corridor bowing and scraping. Jiang Chen turned to look at the young girl behind him. She still had slightly flushed cheeks and her breath carried a faint scent of wine. He gently patted the girl's cheek to try and wake her up. "Hey, wake up, don't fall asleep here." However, the girl seemed completely unconscious, and just muttered subconsciously, "Honey, don't disturb me, let me sleep a little longer." After saying that, she even reached around Jiang Chen's neck and rested her head on his shoulder. "Honey?" Jiang Chen was suddenly stunned. He looked down at the girl in his arms and felt a little embarrassed. He tried to push the girl away, but she hugged him even tighter and muttered words like husband and darling in her mouth. Jiang Chen sighed helplessly. He knew he couldn't just leave a drunk girl here unattended. He looked around and found an empty booth not far away, so he carried the girl over and let her lie on the sofa to rest. He was just about to get up and go get the waiter to bring something to sober her up when the girl suddenly grabbed his arm. "Honey, don't go, I want a kiss," the girl said dreamily, her voice tinged with a hint of coquetry. Jiang Chen was momentarily taken aback. He looked down and saw that the girl was looking at him with her eyes open, her expression a little dazed. He shook his head helplessly, thinking that the silly girl must have mistaken him for her boyfriend. He gently patted the back of the girl's hand and said tenderly, "Little lady, you've got the wrong person. Let go of me first, I'll go get you something to sober up." However, the young girl seemed to have not heard his words, tightly grasping his arm and rubbing against his chest. Jiang Chen had a headache and didn't know what to do. Just then, a waiter walked over and, after seeing the scene, smiled awkwardly. "Mr. Jiang, is this young lady drunk? Should we take her to a private room?" Chapter 12, Reporting to Jingzhou University. Jiang Chen glanced at the girl in his arms, who was almost asleep, and sighed helplessly. "Okay, I'll take her there." He stood up, picked the girl up in his arms, and followed the waiter to a luxurious private room. The private room was elegantly decorated, spacious and comfortable, perfect for resting. Jiang Chen gently placed the girl on the soft sofa and then gestured for the waiter to get the hangover medicine and water. After the waiter left, Jiang Chen sat next to the sofa and quietly looked at the young girl. The young girl lay quietly on the sofa, her face looking exceptionally soft in the soft light. Her eyes were closed. "Is ugly when they are so handsome?" Several girls next to them immediately retorted. The fat guy driving the Ferrari was named Su Fei. His family was in the import and export business and had a bit of money. After being admitted to university, Su Fei badgered his father for a month and finally got him to buy him this second-hand Ferrari. Although the car is second-hand, Su Fei treasures it like a baby. After all, this car greatly satisfies his vanity. The most obvious point is that the beautiful women who used to ignore him are now all vying to sit in the passenger seat. As soon as they get in, they take off their jackets and complain about the poor air conditioning in the car. Gee, the girls at Jingzhou University are really high quality. The schoolgirl on the right in black stockings has really long legs. The girl on the left is also okay, but she's a bit small-breasted, so I guess her kids will be short of milk. Su Fei had not even bothered to register, and was already choosing a concubine. Bang! Just as Su Fei was choosing left and right, there was a sudden loud noise. A girl on a bicycle, carrying too much luggage, passed by the Ferrari. Unable to keep her balance, she and her bicycle crashed into the bonnet of the engine, making a clear scratch. Wanima! Don't you have eyes? Su Fei shouted angrily without further ado. It's over, the girl is out of luck this time, I guess she'll have to pay several thousand yuan. Several thousand yuan is not enough, this is a Ferrari, I guess she'll have to pay tens of thousands of yuan for this kind of damage. Really? That's too bad. The surrounding onlookers whispered, while at the same time giving the girl who caused the accident sympathetic looks. At this moment, Yu Yue was looking down, a little at a loss, and about to cry. She had come from the mountainous area in the south of Jingzhou, and her family was not doing well. To sum it up in a popular saying on the internet these days: a gambling father, a sick mother, a younger brother at school, and a sensible daughter. It was not yet the start of the school year, but Yu Yue had come to the school cafeteria early in the summer vacation to find a part-time job to help with her studies. Just now, because the customer was rushing to deliver the food, Yu Yue was so anxious that she accidentally bumped into Su Fei's Ferrari. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do it. How much will it cost to repair? I'll pay you back. Yu Yue said, sobbing. Pay? Can you afford it? This is a second-hand. Oh, no. This new Ferrari of mine cost hundreds of thousands of yuan, and I can't even pay for it if I sell you. Cut the crap, hurry up and contact your parents, let them pay for it. A few million? Yu Yue felt dizzy when she heard this number. She knew that her monthly living expenses were only 500 yuan, and a few million was an astronomical number that she had never even dreamed of. At this time, someone next to her started to complain. Don't scare the little girl, okay? Although your car is worth a few million, it's just a small scratch. That's right. You should at least call the police. Don't be scared, little girl. He's just trying to scare you. Su Fei flew into a rage when he heard this. You know nothing. This car was just delivered recently, and I've already had an accident. My insurance premiums will definitely go up next year. There's also compensation for lost wages and emotional distress, and you'll have to pay for all that. You're not leaving here until you pay 50,000 yuan. 50,000? Yu Yue couldn't help but tremble when she heard this figure, and then buried her head deeply. In order to pay for her tuition and living expenses, her grandparents had sold a cow before she went to school, and after borrowing from all her relatives, she had barely managed to scrape together 8,000 yuan. This 50,000 yuan was almost equivalent to her entire 4-year university tuition. But now that she had caused trouble, Yu Yue couldn't care less, and she just wanted to settle the matter quickly. Hey, brother, I only have 8,000 yuan on hand right now. Can I give you that and work part-time to pay you the rest? What? Only 8,000 yuan? Su Fei frowned. Although it would cost him less than 8,000 yuan to repair the car, he didn't want to miss this opportunity to extort money. No, that's not enough. If you don't give me 50,000 yuan today, you're not leaving. Yu Yue's tears were welling up in her eyes. She had never encountered anything like this before. And now she was in a big city where she didn't know anyone, all alone with no one to help her. At that moment, Yu Yue felt extremely helpless. Boom! Just then, the roar of a sports car engine could be heard from not far away. A silver-gray Koenigsegg Agera RS sports car slowly approached from afar and stopped by the side of the road. Holy shit! It's a Koenigsegg, one of the world's top supercars. This car is worth tens of millions of dollars. I never thought I'd run into a supercar like this in a place like Jingzhou. Yeah, I wonder who the owner is. I hope it's a single, handsome young man. Everyone's eyes were glued to the car, and the girls who had been eyeing Su Fei just a moment ago turned their attention to the Koenigsegg. After the Koenigsegg came to a stop, the handsome swivel doors slowly opened, and Jiang Chen, wearing sunglasses, got out. Seeing a crowd gathered around the Ferrari across the street, he walked over curiously and, after some inquiries, found out what had happened. 50,000 for a scratch on a used car? Jiang Chen immediately noticed that Su Fei's Ferrari was an old model, and an old one at that. How dare he ask for such a high price? It was obvious that he was trying to rip off the young girl. At that moment, Su Fei was even more unhappy with Jiang Chen, because the price of the Koenigsegg was more than 10 times that of his car. In this comparison, Su Fei's arrogance was instantly surpassed. None of your business? Su Fei gave Jiang Chen a cold stare, and then continued to vent his anger on Yu Yue. I said, did you hear me? Are you deaf? Hurry up and pay up. I don't have any money. No money? If you don't have any money, then let your parents pay. If that doesn't work, sell a kidney. You have to get me the 50,000 yuan today. Jiang Chen walked up and touched the scratched paint, saying, I'm telling you, man, it'll cost you a few thousand yuan at most to fix your car. Why make things difficult for the little girl? What are you talking about? I just bought this car. Ha, a 16-year-old Ferrari 488, and you dare to ask someone for 50,000 yuan to repair it. You're not afraid of having no anus when you have a son. You. Su Fei was at a loss for words for a moment. What's it got to do with you? Just go away. Then he continued to turn the spearhead towards Yu Yue. I said, what are you pretending for? So many people have seen that it was you who hit it, and you still want to renege on the debt? Hurry up and pay up, I don't have time to waste with you. Chapter 14, Why don't you knock? Ding, a random task has been activated. The host will be rewarded for helping Yu Yue overcome this difficulty. Oh? Jiang Chen didn't intend to get involved, but since the system had spoken, he had to get involved in this matter today. Wait, name a number, I'll pay for her. What? Su Fei was stunned, wondering if this guy who drove a Koenigsegg wasn't quite right in the head. But Su Fei was more than willing to take advantage of such an easy target. You're a good guy. Su Fei bowed, then pretended to be polite and said, since you're willing to pay for her damages, I won't ask for much, just 100,000 yuan. Okay, 100,000 yuan, right? Jiang Chen laughed while picking up a brick from the ground and smashing it hard against the hood of the car in front of him. Dong! After a sound, a deep dent appeared on the front hood. Okay, this is the price for 100,000. You're too much. Su Fei didn't expect Jiang Chen to dare to smash his car, and immediately clenched his fists, planning to rush up and beat him up. At this time, several bodyguards dressed in black rushed out from the side and stopped Su Fei. What are you doing? Can you move, Jiang Xiao? Su Fei was suddenly stopped by a few tall bodyguards, and he stumbled a few steps. His face instantly turned pale, and his eyes were burning with anger, but he was afraid to move easily due to the other party's imposing presence. He glared viciously at Jiang Chen. You dare to smash my car? You're the one who said to pay 100,000 yuan, so I can only set the damage to your car at that price. At this time, Jiang Long walked forward and bowed slightly. Jiang Xiao, we at Finghua Security have a professional legal team, known as Beishan Pizza, so let us handle this. Jiang Chen nodded in response. Okay, then you'll have a hard time. No hard time, it's only right to do things for Jiang Xiao. After saying this, Jiang Long instructed his bodyguard to pick Su Fei up. Let's go over there and talk. Wow, this freshman is so manly, he feels like he has a strong sense of justice, I love it. Yes, how could there be such a perfect guy in the world? It would be great if I could date him. You're thinking about Jimei, but look in the mirror. Only a perfect woman like me deserves him. I really want to play the romantic with him, I'll be the one who's a little more carefree, and he can be a little slower, or even faster, hee hee. A group of older students nearby could no longer contain their excitement, and began to speak out their wild thoughts. If it weren't for the crowd, they would probably have pounced on him. Jiang Chen quickly finished the admission procedures and then got into the driver's seat of the Koenigsegg, ready to go to the men's dormitory. Knock, knock. At this time, the car window chimed, and Jiang Chen turned his head to see the girl he had just rescued. At the first sight of her, 6 words came to Jiang Chen's mind: pregnant. Yu Yaoi's face was slightly red, and she panted, saying, Thank you for helping me out just now. I will pay you back the 100,000 yuan. Here is my phone number. After saying this, Yu Yue handed Jiang Chen a neatly folded piece of paper with her name and phone number written in a delicate handwriting. It's okay, you don't need to pay me back. Jiang Chen meant that with the help of the professional legal team from Finghua Security, Su Fei would be lucky if he didn't have to pay back the bottom dollar. But Yu Yue thought Jiang Chen was saying this because he felt sorry for her. No, my mother told me that I must repay a favor to someone, especially when it's such a large sum of money. Can I just postpone it for a while? I need time to save up. Sigh, fine. Jiang Chen sighed upon hearing this. He could tell that this Yue was a girl who appeared weak on the outside but was very stubborn on the inside. If he didn't agree, she would probably camp out in front of his dorm every day. Add WeChat. Jiang Chen took out his phone and opened the QR code. This move made the surrounding girls look jealous. I don't have WeChat yet. Huh? Jiang Chen was stunned. It's the year 4202, and there are still people who don't have WeChat? Yue smiled awkwardly, then felt around in his pocket and pulled out an old-fashioned mobile phone, the kind that only old people use. I tried to download it before, but it doesn't support WeChat functions. Okay, then I'll just take your phone number. And, the car's repairs will only cost 10,000 yuan at most, so you can just give me 10,000 yuan. Huh? Is that really okay? Yue felt a little embarrassed. It's not a matter of whether it's okay or not. He was just trying to rip you off. I'm leaving now, see you later. With that, Jiang Chen stepped on the accelerator and the Koenigsegg sports car sped off in the direction of the university dormitory. Ding, congratulations to the host for completing the task, reward a limited edition Patek Philippe. Patek Philippe? Jiang Chen's heart twitched slightly, and he then reached into his trouser pocket, where he felt a heavy object. He slowly took it out, and an exquisite watch lay quietly in the palm of his hand. This Patek Philippe was made of extremely rare rose gold, and the edges of the case had been carefully polished. On the dial, the fine lines resemble a miniature universe, with blue hands leisurely wandering between the silver-white markings. This watch is really not bad, I guess it must cost a few million. Jiang Chen secretly admired in his heart. He had heard of a Patek Philippe advertising slogan that said no one can own a Patek Philippe forever, they just help you manage it for the next generation. Jiang Chen put the watch on his wrist and then drove deep into the campus, through a lush forest of tree-lined streets, and finally stopped in front of the boys' dormitory building. The exterior of this dormitory building is very old, and it looks like it hasn't been renovated in more than 10 years. Jiang Chen pushed the door open and walked in. The interior of the dormitory was dimly lit, and the air was filled with an indescribable mixture of smells, a tangle of dampness, mildew, and the scent of unknown food residue that made one involuntarily wrinkle one's nose. Ugh! The conditions in this dormitory are a bit harsh. Is this a place for people to live? I think I need to consider buying a villa near the school. Jiang Chen shook his head and walked deeper into the dormitory. On both sides of the corridor, the doors were closed, but the faint light that occasionally shone through the cracks between the doors could not hide the graffiti and faded paint on the doors. Jiang Chen followed the assigned dormitory list and arrived at dormitory 403. Knock, knock, knock. Jiang Chen knocked on the dormitory door a few times and found that there was no response. Huh? No one's here at this hour? Bang! Jiang Chen kicked the door open. Who the hell doesn't knock before entering? Chapter 15, Don't touch things that aren't yours. The next second, a boy wearing headphones stood up from his seat, hastily closing the notebook in front of him without realizing that he had turned on the speaker. Suddenly, an indescribable female voice came out of the computer. The situation was instantly incredibly awkward. Sorry, man, I knocked on the door just now, and I thought no one was in there. The guy sighed, a little sullen. He had locked the dorm door and was about to practice some ancestral handicrafts. Now that Jiang Chen had messed it up, he guessed his second brother would need at least a few weeks to recover. Forget it, it's not entirely your fault. I was so engrossed in my headphones that I didn't hear it. The boy generously held out his hand. My name is Bai Yuntao, from Xinjiang. What's your name, brother? My name is Jiang Chen. Seeing that Bai Yuntao didn't pursue the matter, Jiang Chen couldn't help but feel a little good about him. By the way, where are the rest of our dorm mates? Haven't they reported yet? They're all here. It seems like they went to buy food. Jiang Chen was taken aback by this. You need to exercise even when you're buying groceries? I have to suspect that you have kidney problems. Bai Yuntao, of course, had no idea what Jiang Chen was thinking. He looked at his watch. They should be back soon. It's a good time for everyone to get acquainted. Before he finished speaking, 3 boys walked in through the dormitory door. One was tall and strong, but his skin was a bit dark. The other was a fat guy, quite kind-looking, like a Maitreya Buddha, while the skinny one had a sharp-nosed monkey face and looked a bit mean. I said, Fatty, you've got everyone in your dorm here, so introduce your buddies to me quickly. The fat guy nodded and quickly introduced Jiang Chen. Hello, my name is Qiandi, and the guy next to me is my fellow villager Meng Fanlin, from the dorm next door. Hello, Jiang Chen. Jiang Chen held out his hand and shook hands with Chenda. When he tried to shake hands with Meng Fanlin, he had already walked over to the window, looked out, and said somewhat arrogantly, "Gee, this dorm is really shabby. Someday, let my dad buy me a suite nearby. I guess you'll just have to put up with it for 4 years." Jiang Chen frowned inwardly on hearing this, but didn't say anything. The big guy next to him introduced himself in a muffled voice. "Hello, my name is Shan Hongwei. I usually like to work out, so if you need help carrying your luggage, just give me a shout." Jiang Chen smiled slightly. "Thanks, judging from your toned body, you don't lack exercise." Shan Hongwei scratched his head innocently. "These aren't dead muscles, they're from all the work I do for my mother. They're not like those in the gym who drink protein powder." Afterwards, he rolled up his sleeves and showed off his biceps. "They are quite big indeed." Jiang Chen smiled. From his accent, he could tell that this Shan Hongwei was from the countryside and had the simplicity typical of rural people. "Lao Meng, you're really a local tyrant, planning to buy a house as soon as you start school?" Xian Dai asked, a little envious inside. "Pish, what's that?" Meng Fanlin waved a wristwatch. "See, this is a classic Rolex. My father gave it to me for my coming-of-age gift. It cost 100,000 yuan. That expensive? Let me see." Chen Duo leaned over to take a look. Next to him, Bai Yuntao and Shan Hongwei had never seen a real Rolex before, and they also leaned over curiously. Go on, don't let me break it, you can't afford to pay for it." Meng Fanlin took the Rolex off like it was a precious baby, swung it around in his hands, and said proudly, "You can only look, not touch. A luxury item like a Rolex is probably out of your league for the rest of your life." Seeing Meng Fanlin's show-off attitude, Jiang Chen shook his head, then carried the luggage on the floor to the bed, inadvertently revealing the gleaming Patek Philippe on his wrist. "Wait, is that a Patek Philippe Nautilus 5980 you're wearing?" As someone who is obsessed with watches, Meng Fanlin is familiar with most watch models. "Well, what about it?" Meng Fanlin's gaze was instantly captivated by the exquisite dial, and the disdain on his face gradually solidified, replaced by an expression of disbelief. He couldn't help but reach out, his fingertips trembling slightly, wanting to check the authenticity. Just as his fingers were about to touch the case, Jiang Chen moved. Pop! Jiang Chen slapped Meng Fanlin's face hard with the back of his hand. Several people present, including Qiande and Shan Hongwei, widened their eyes in surprise. They didn't expect Jiang Chen to suddenly strike. "Remember, there are some things you can't just touch." Jiang Chen's voice was calm, but his eyes revealed a sense of oppression. Meng Fanlin covered his red face but didn't dare to react. After all, the other person could afford a multi-million-dollar watch, and the power behind him was unimaginable. "Yes, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it." Meng Fanlin quickly bowed to apologize. At this point, Bai Yuntao stepped forward to smooth things over. "It's okay, Brother Chen, calm down. I didn't realize that you were the hidden rich kid in our dormitory." "Yes, Brother Chen, what does your family do?" "A multi-million-dollar Patek Philippe, we wouldn't even dare dream of it." Jiang Chen heard this and smiled slightly. "It's nothing impressive, my family is just a small business." Qiande and the others swallowed nervously. They knew that Jiang Chen was just being modest, and any fool could see that Jiang Chen's family was definitely not simple. "Brother Chen, can I ask you a favor? I want to see the Patek Philippe you're wearing, just a glance is fine." Meng Fanlin whispered a humble request. His posture was very low, like a different person. Jiang Chen sneered, lifted his wrist and said, "Look, but don't touch." Yes. Meng Fanlin looked carefully and was convinced that the Patek Philippe on Jiang Chen's wrist was definitely the real thing, not some fake. He bowed again and said, "Brother Chen, just now I was blind, I dare not pretend to be cool anymore." Jiang Chen nodded. "It's good to know when you're wrong. Remember, there are people in the world who are better than you, and there are people in the world who are better than them. Brother Chen, you're right. I'll definitely keep a low profile in the future." Meng Fanlin stayed in Jiang Chen's dormitory for a while longer, feeling that the atmosphere was very awkward, so he had to find an excuse to leave. "Brother Chen, don't mind him. Meng is just like that, he likes to pretend. I guess he's learned his lesson this time and will behave himself in the future." Chen De said with a smile, "Don't let him ruin the atmosphere in our dormitory." Jiang Chen nodded. He had a good first impression of Qiande and the others. As for Meng Fanlin, he was not in the same dormitory, so why bother with him? Oh yeah, there's just been an announcement in the group chat. There's a new student orientation, let's go together, shall we? Chapter 16. Is it really him, or her? Just as Jiang Chen and the others were preparing to go to the teaching building for the meeting, in a girls' dormitory at Jingzhou University, Yi Shihan was covering her head with a quilt embroidered with a Pikachu pattern and mumbling to herself. Oh no, I've had too much to drink at the bar for the first time. If what happened yesterday is told by that guy, then my innocence will be. At this moment, Yi Shihan regretted it all. Although her family was well off, her father ran a building materials company in Jingzhou, she was strictly disciplined. Yesterday, she suddenly had the idea of going to a bar to find excitement and release some of her recent stress. She didn't expect to get drunk after just a few drinks. And while she was drunk, Yi Shihan vaguely remembered that a few thugs had ill intentions towards her, but she was stopped by a boy. At that moment, she put herself in the identity of the heroine of the Korean drama The Great Lady and took advantage of the alcohol to have an in-depth exchange with the boy who saved her. The next day, when she woke up, she saw the mess all over the bed and was so scared that she ran away. Although she had left money and a note, she was still afraid that things would be exposed. Forget it, after all, the world is so big, I shouldn't see him again. Yi Shihan was thinking when the quilt on her body was suddenly lifted. Shihan, what are you doing here with your head covered? Didn't the counselor ask you to welcome the new students in her place today? The one who woke Yi Shihan up was none other than her roommate and best friend, Tian Shui. Oh yes, I almost forgot. Yi Shihan suddenly remembered that the counselor had asked Yi Shihan, as the student union president, to help her give a mobilization meeting to the new students because she had to take some time off due to family matters. What time is it? I have to hurry. After saying this, Yi Shihan quickly retouched her makeup and drove her Porsche 911 towards the teaching building. At this time, Jiang Chen and the others had just entered the lecture theater, and the girls in the classroom instantly brightened up. Wow, look, that boy is so handsome, a bit like Jackie Chan. Huh? I think I've seen him before, I remember now, isn't he the handsome guy who arrived in a sports car? He even did a heroic deed at the registration desk. Really? What a kind and handsome young man. I wonder if he has a girlfriend. The girls present clenched their legs as they took a good look at Jiang Chen's handsome body. They wondered if his brother was as outstanding as he was in terms of height. Jiang Chen was not particularly uncomfortable with the girls' burning stares, or rather, he had long since become accustomed to them. Brother Chen, you are really popular with the girls, and we brothers are benefiting from your popularity. Bai Yun Tao said with a smile, obviously very pleased with the attention. Ugh, I really didn't expect it. I thought I would be the school beauty of our department, but I didn't expect to have to settle for second place. Chen De arranged his hair a little and said rather narcissistically. I'm telling you, Chen, before you say that, can you look in the mirror? Don't even mention me, even Hongwei is more handsome than you. Exactly. Shan Hongwei on the side giggled for a few seconds before suddenly reacting. I mean, Bai, are you praising me or insulting me? I'm way more handsome than you. The few of them started a war of words. Jiang Chen, on the other hand, shook his head and then unlocked his phone. He wasn't interested in this kind of thing, the only things that could currently arouse his interest were flirting with girls and obtaining system rewards. As soon as Jiang Chen opened WeChat, he received a few photos from Gao Xiao Yume, all of them close-ups of her long, black silk-clad legs. Master, do you like my legs? Jiang Chen zoomed in and out of the photos, repeatedly viewing them dozens of times before replying. They're okay, I'm not interested in this. Okay, I won't post them anymore then. Cough cough, it's okay to post a few every now and then. Hee hee, I knew you'd like them. When are you coming home? I miss you a little. Ding, detected that Yumi Takahashi's strategy progress has reached 90%, and you will be rewarded with a Jingzhou Bay No. 1 villa. There's actually such a reward? Yes, host, for any bound girl, as long as the host interacts with her more, they can get a strategy reward. Reaching 60% strategy degree indicates that the girl has a good impression of the host, 70% or more means infatuation, and 80% or more means admiration. Girls who reach 90% strategy degree or more will obey any request from the host and treat the host wholeheartedly, never betraying. Awesome. Jiang Chen nodded, then glanced at the schedule after the semester started. I may have to stay in the dorm for a few days, and I'll come back to find you once I'm done. Okay then. Yumi Takahashi made a disappointed expression. Oh, by the way, master, I've recently learned how to cook Japanese food, so I'll cook it for you when you come back. Ha, now that you mention it, I want to go back early. Just as Jiang Chen and Yumi Takahashi were chatting enthusiastically, the door to the lecture theater was pushed open. What caught everyone's eye was an extremely pure face. It was the long-delayed Yi Shihan. Yi Shihan's beauty is the type that is unforgettable after just one glance. Her delicate skin is as white as snow, and the slight blush that shows through is like the sunset reflecting on the horizon, both pure and with a hint of charm. And her figure is incredibly sexy, with curvy lines and a well-defined shape. Her waist is slender just right, like a delicate willow that is just right to hold. Her breasts are plump and erect, exuding the charm of a mature woman, and her hips have a smooth line, showing off the perfect S-shaped curve. Yi Shihan's appearance instantly became the focus of the lecture hall, and all eyes were on her. This girl is so beautiful, she's my type. What if she makes the first move on me? Dude, I think you're dreaming of a good life, just thinking about the good things. Why don't you ask her if she and Zhang Runin are both after you, who would you choose? Only children make multiple choice questions. I want them all. After just a brief encounter, these guys were already daydreaming about Yi Shihan, and some of them even had the names of their children picked out. Ahem, sorry, I'm late. Yi Shihan stood on the podium and bowed slightly. Let me introduce myself. I'm a senior in the finance department and you're senior. My name is Yi Shihan. Your counselor, Teacher Song, has gone home for a few days, so she asked me to go over the rules and regulations and important things to note about starting school. As soon as she finished speaking, there was a shocked silence in the room. Yi Shihan? Is she the Yi Shihan who was ranked as the most beautiful girl at Jingzhou University? Yes, now that you mention it, I remember her too. She was at the top of the most beautiful girl list for a long time. I never would have thought that the goddess of our school would be our substitute counselor. Just as the freshmen were rejoicing, one person was dumbfounded, and that was Jiang Chen. Holy cow, isn't she the girl I saved at the bar? How did she become my senior? Just as Jiang Chen looked up and took in Yi Shihan on the podium also noticed the familiar handsome face. Why is he here? Am I seeing a ghost in broad daylight? Chapter 17 Senior, you don't want anyone to know about us, do you? The two of them discovered each other, then stared at each other for a few seconds before immediately lowering their heads. It's over. It really is him. It turns out that he is a freshman at Jingzhou University. How is this such a coincidence? Yi Shihan's face became visibly red. Although Jiang Chen didn't show it on the surface, he secretly muttered to himself. So she's the campus queen of Jingzhou University? Looks like I really struck gold. Jiang Chen's thoughts couldn't help but return to the night at the bar. Ahem, well, let me first tell you about the things you need to pay attention to as a freshman. Yi Shihan's voice had obviously become nervous, so she quickly finished the prepared PowerPoint presentation and said, That's about all the things you need to know as a freshman. If you have any questions, you can come to my office after the meeting. After saying that, Yi Shihan quickly packed up her things and ran out of the classroom. Strange, is there something urgent that Sister Yi is in a hurry about? Why is she in such a hurry? Qian De asked curiously. I think she's just shy. Jiang Chen said with a smile, while the other three were dumbfounded. Brother Chen, do you know Sister Yi? We met by chance, we're kind of friendship through lips. Qian De and the others showed an envious expression, their back teeth almost grinding together. Damn it, Chen, you're rich and good looking, but why do you have to steal our goddess too? Jiang, drunk. At the time, I really thought you were a dog. You? Don't make things up. How can you say I bit you? Do you have any evidence? Seeing Yi Shihan's stubborn face, Jiang Chen didn't argue with her, but sat down on the sofa opposite. I don't care, this is your bite mark anyway. Now let's talk about how you're going to make it up to me. You? I'm warning you, I'm your acting counselor now. If you don't listen, I'll give you a demerit. Jiang Chen stood up with a smile, looking down on Yi Shihan condescendingly, with the distance between their noses less than 5 centimeters. Fine, since you're so unrelenting, I'm also going to show off my literary talent and write our story as an assignment on the school intranet. I think it'll be popular. Jiang Chen. Yi Shihan instantly looked pitiful. I was wrong, okay? I was really drunk last time and I don't remember anything. Please don't tell anyone about this. Seeing that Yi Shihan had finally succumbed to his lewd power, Jiang Chen nodded in satisfaction. It's possible, but it depends on your behavior. Yi Shirhan nodded quickly. As long as you don't tell anyone, I promise to do whatever you say. Really? Of course. I, Yi Shirhan, always keep my word. Good. Come find me tomorrow at Jingzhou Bay Villa number 1. Remember to wear a JK skirt and Balenciaga and black stockings. I like that. What? Yi Shirhan didn't expect Jiang Chen to make such a request, and she couldn't help but get a little angry. You big pig's foot, I knew you didn't mean well. Okay, you say so, then I'll just. Jiang Chen threatened. Of course he could not really reveal their affair, although Jiang Chen did not want to say that he was some kind of gentleman, but this kind of self-serving thing he would not do. The reason for saying this was nothing more than to tease Yi Shirhan a little. But Yi Shirhan took it seriously and quickly said, No, I'll listen to you, okay? After saying that, she muttered to herself, Damn Jiang Chen, when I go back, I'll be a villain and stab you to death with a needle. Okay, then it's a deal. I'll see you tomorrow at 8 o'clock. Bye, senior. After saying that, Jiang Chen left the office, leaving Yi Shirhan alone stamping her feet and sulking. Okay, it's time to go back to the villa that the system rewarded us with. Jiang Chen started the Koenigsegg and sped off towards Jingzhou Bay. While in the car, Jiang Chen sent a WeChat message to Jiang Long, asking him to investigate Yi Shirhan's information. Under the operation of the Finghua Security's top network technology team, in less than 10 minutes, Jiang Chen obtained all of Yi Shirhan's information. Seeing that Yi Shirhan's father Yi Feng was the chairman of Fenghui Building Materials, Jiang Chen was a little surprised. Wow, I didn't realize that my senior was also a rich kid, and she hit it pretty well. And the column on emotional experience showed a blank. Could it be that my senior Yi Shirhan has never been in love, and yesterday was the first time? Chapter 18 The Beautiful Housekeeper at the Villa. Thinking about this, Jiang Chen couldn't help but recall yesterday's scene, convinced that the results of the investigation were true. Oops, it seems I have to be nicer to my senior, after all, she gave me such precious things. Jiang Chen thought to himself while realizing that he had arrived at the Jingzhou Bay Villa. He parked the Koenigsegg in the open space in front of the villa and, once he got out of the car, was immediately captivated by the imposing building. The entire villa had a modern, minimalist exterior with smooth lines. The white walls were adorned with large floor-to-ceiling windows that reflected the blue sky and white clouds, making the villa look exceptionally luxurious. Just as he was standing there admiring it, a beautiful housekeeper in professional attire and with a pretty face came out of the villa. She saw Jiang Chen and immediately smiled and came up to him. Mr. Jiang, you're here. I'm Ding Yun, the housekeeper here. You can just call me Xiao Yun. The beautiful housekeeper had a sweet voice and a respectful but friendly attitude. Jiang Chen nodded and smiled. Hello Xiao Yun, show me around the villa. Okay, Mr. Jiang, please follow me. Ding Yun said, turning around and leading Jiang Chen into the villa. As soon as they entered the villa's hall, they were greeted by all kinds of luxurious European-style furniture. Through the floor-to-ceiling windows, they could clearly see the sea view outside, with the sparkling sea surface complementing the luxurious interior decor. Mr. Jiang, this way is the living room, and over there is the dining room and kitchen. Ding Yun explained as she guided Jiang Chen on a tour of the various areas. Upstairs are the bedrooms, study, entertainment room and other private spaces. Jiang Chen followed Ding Yun's pace and visited every corner of the villa. He discovered that the villa was not only luxuriously decorated, but also fully equipped. There was everything from a high-tech smart home system to comfortable leisure facilities. Jiang Chen nodded in satisfaction. Not bad, this place should be quite comfortable to live in. Ding Yun laughed upon hearing this. As long as Mr. Jiang is satisfied, if you have any needs or suggestions, you can let me know at any time, I will do my best to serve you. Okay. Jiang Chen nodded. He went to the French windows and looked out at the distant sea view. From this villa halfway up the mountainside, you can overlook most of Jingzhou, and a sense of conquest welled up in his heart. No wonder those rich people like to live in villas, it really is worth the money. Behind him, Ding Yun stood quietly, waiting for his next instruction. By the way, Yun, does this villa have a private movie theater or something? Yes, Mr. Jiang, please follow me. Ding Yun took Jiang Chen to the basement level of the villa by elevator. The elevator doors slowly opened to reveal a spacious and luxurious private cinema. The interior of the cinema was dominated by dark tones, with sound-absorbing material covering the walls and soft, thick burgundy carpeting that made footsteps nearly inaudible. The entire space was filled with an immersive movie-watching atmosphere. Jiang Chen's eyes were first drawn to the huge screen in front of him. It was an ultra-high-definition projection screen that occupied almost the entire wall. In front of the screen were neatly arranged rows of comfortable sofa seats, each equipped with an individual cup holder and small tabletop, very thoughtful indeed. The lighting design of the theater was also very ingenious. The recessed light strips at the top gave off a soft glow that was neither dazzling nor intrusive, ensuring that there was plenty of light for watching movies. "Mr. Jiang, you can watch any movie you want here," Ding Yin said. "Our film library is updated in real time, and we can play both new blockbusters and classic old movies for you at any time." Jiang Chen nodded, very satisfied with this private theater. He walked over to the sofa seat, sat down, and asked, "How is the sound insulation in this theater?" "Don't worry, the soundproofing materials here are imported from the Iron Tower country's high-end brand. As long as you close the door, you won't hear any sound from inside." "Nice." Jiang Chen nodded. This place was perfect for spending time with Yumi Takahashi, exchanging knowledge about the origins of life and so on. "By the way, Mr. Jiang, there is also a billiards room next door." "Let me show you." "There is also a billiards room?" Jiang Chen was interested and stood up to follow Ding Yun to a door next door. The door was gently pushed open and Jiang Chen's eyes immediately lit up. This was a very professional billiards room, with a standard snooker table in the middle. Ding Yun walked to the wall and gently pressed it, and the concealed lockers on the wall slowly opened, with all kinds of high-end billiards supplies neatly arranged inside. She lightly walked over to the pool table, picked up an exquisite cue, raised her hips high, and assumed a standard striking position. "If you need it, I can also be your sparring partner." Jiang Chen was attracted by Ding Yun's sexy figure with a curvy waist and couldn't help but take a second look. "It seems that not only do you do meticulous housekeeping, but you also play billiards well." "But I usually like to play basketball, especially with two hands." "If there's a chance, let's exchange skills and have an in-depth exchange." "Mr. Jiang, you are too kind. I only know a little." Ding Yun seemed to understand the meaning of Jiang Chen's words and hurriedly lowered her head shyly. "Also, this villa does not have a wine cellar or a swimming pool." "Do you need me to show you around again?" "No need." Jiang Chen waved his hand. "I'm a bit tired now and want to rest for a while." "You go ahead." Ding Yun tidied her hair and shyly fled. Jiang Chen went to the cinema and played the newly released 3A game masterpiece Black Myth Wukong on the huge, clear screen for a while. I don't know if it was because the technology was too simple or the game was too difficult, but after getting stuck on the big-headed doll ghost for an entire hour, Jiang Chen cursed, threw down the controller, and went back to bed. The next day, he woke up at more than 8 o'clock. Horror. Yi Shirhan heard Jiang Chen's praise and a smug smile appeared on her face. She glared at Jiang Chen and pretended to be angry, turning her head away. Of course." Jiang Chen looked at Yi Shirhan's arrogant look of pretending to be angry and felt a burst of laughter in his heart. He walked up to her and gently patted her on the shoulder. "Okay, don't be angry, let's go. I'll take you to eat something that I guarantee you've never tried before." Yi Shirhan's face showed an expression of anticipation. "What is it?" She had grown up in affluence, going to and from Michelin 3-star restaurants, eating foie gras and caviar as snacks. "You'll know when you follow me." She nodded and followed Jiang Chen to the Koenigsegg parked at the entrance. After getting into the passenger seat, Yi Shirhan took a look at the highly technological interior of the car and couldn't help but exclaim in surprise. "Junior, what does your family do? You can actually afford to drive such a luxurious supercar." "It's nothing, just a small business, not worth mentioning." Yi Shirhan nodded and didn't ask any more questions. After all, in her circle, there were quite a few people who drove supercars. After the two got in the car, Jiang Chen started the car and drove towards a food stall in the downtown area of Jingzhou. The downtown area of Jingzhou is bustling with traffic and people. Jiang Chen drove the Koenigsegg through the busy streets and eventually parked steadily in front of a door called Old Street Food Stall. This food stall is located in an old street with a long history, surrounded by antique buildings. With its unique style and delicious food, it attracts countless diners. After getting out of the car, Jiang Chen walked around to the passenger's seat and opened the door for Yi Shirhan. Yi Shirhan walked down from the car and looked at the unremarkable food stall in front of her, a hint of doubt flashing in her eyes. "Are you sure you want to bring me here to eat, Junior?" she asked somewhat uncertainly. After all, in her impression, it seemed that she had never eaten from a street stall before. However, Jiang Chen confidently nodded. "Yes, this is the place. Don't look at this unremarkable food stall, but their skewers are the best in Jingzhou. I guarantee you'll be left with an unforgettable aftertaste. With that, he took Yi Shihan's hand and walked into the food stall. The food stall was bustling with activity, and the air was filled with the aroma of barbecued meat and the faint smell of charcoal, which made people's appetites grow. The diners sat around simple tables, chatting loudly and laughing heartily from time to time. Jiang Chen and Yi Shihan found an empty table and sat down. Immediately, a waiter came up to them enthusiastically. "What would you like to eat?" the waiter asked with a smile. 50 skewers of lamb, 20 skewers of beef, and 10 skewers of chicken wings. Jiang Chen skillfully called out the names of the dishes, then asked Yi Shihan, "What else would you like to eat?" Yi Shihan looked at the tables of the other diners, which were full of skewers and beer, and couldn't help but feel a little excited. She shook her head. "No, these are enough." Soon, the skewers were served. The golden brown skewers sizzled on the charcoal fire, emitting a tempting aroma. Jiang Chen picked up a skewer of lamb kebab, blew on the steam, and handed it to Yi Shihan. "Try it." Yi Shihan took the lamb kebab and took a bite carefully. Suddenly, the tender meat and the spicy seasoning intertwined in her mouth, creating an indescribable deliciousness. Her eyes lit up, and she couldn't help but exclaim, "Wow, it's really delicious." Jiang Chen looked at her satisfied expression and laughed to himself. The reason he brought Yi Shihan to a place like this was because he wanted to show her a different side of the world. There is a saying on the internet that goes, "If a girl is inexperienced, show her all the glitz and glamour of the world. If she has been through the vicissitudes of life, take her for a ride on a carousel." Yi Shihan was undoubtedly the latter. He picked up a bottle of beer and poured one glass for Yi Shihan. "Here, senior, have some beer, it will make the food taste even better." Yi Shihan took the beer glass and took a gentle sip. The cold beer had a slight bitterness and a malty aroma, which complemented the spicy flavor of the kebab, and made her feel refreshed. The two ate and chatted, and the atmosphere was very harmonious. Jiang Chen kept picking food and pouring wine for Yi Shihan from time to time, and Yi Shihan gradually let go of her inhibitions and drank heartily with Jiang Chen. Under the influence of the delicious food and wine, the two seemed to have become much closer. Yi Shihan no longer maintained the same level of vigilance and caution towards Jiang Chen as before. "Do you usually come to places like this to eat, Junior?" Jiang Chen said indistinctly while shoving a skewer into his mouth. "Yes, I used to come here a lot." "I can't tell, a rich second generation like you is quite down to earth." Yi Shihan couldn't help but admire him a little, and her impression of Jiang Chen improved a little in her heart. She felt that he was different from those second-generation rich people who like to be picky and enjoy themselves. "I'm full." After a while, Yi Shihan patted her slightly bulging belly and said contentedly, "Where should we go next?" "Let's just go for a stroll on the nearby pedestrian street. There are a lot of people here and the street is very lively." "Really? Let's go then." Yi Shihan seldom went shopping either, and when she did, she went with her girlfriends to large shopping malls like Gueha to go on a shopping spree. Her girlfriends all liked to buy luxury goods, and every time they went, they seemed to be restocking their wardrobes. Over time, Yi Shihan, who wasn't really interested in this, stopped going with them. After paying the bill, the two of them joined hands and entered the bustling commercial street. This pedestrian street is Jingzhou's famous shopping paradise. There are shops lining both sides of the street, selling everything from international brands to local snacks. The pedestrian street is packed with people, but it doesn't seem crowded. The two checked out of the barbecue stall and walked towards the nearby shopping street. The shopping street was brightly lit under the night sky, with neon lights intertwined to create a radiant and colorful picture. There are all kinds of shops on both sides of the street, selling everything from fashionable clothes to exquisite jewelry, from specialty snacks to bookstores and cafes. Jiang Chen and Yi Shihan stroll along the bustling commercial street, feeling the unique charm of the city at night. "Look, it's so lively over there." Chapter 20, "Hey, I want that doll." Yi Shihan looked at the busy street and her face lit up with excitement. Yes, this commercial street is one of the most famous night markets in Jingzhou, with lots of delicious food and fun things to do. Jiang Chen said with a smile. "Hey, look over there, it looks like a claw crane game store." A flash of excitement crossed Yi Shihan's eyes as she pointed to a brightly lit store decorated with childlike decorations not far away. Through the shop's glass windows, you can clearly see all kinds of cute dolls on display inside. "Grabbing dolls?" Jiang Chen looked in the direction of Yi Shihan's finger. "Do you want to try?" "Of course I do." Yi Shihan answered without hesitation. Although she doesn't usually go shopping, every time she sees a claw machine, she can't help but want to try it. Today, she finally got the chance, so of course she wouldn't let it go. The two quickly arrived at the door of the claw machine store. Yi Shihan couldn't wait to push the door open, and Jiang Chen followed suit. The store was bustling with activity, with many people gathered around the claw machines, either trying to grab a doll or just watching and having fun. I want that huge Stitch doll. Yi Shihan looked around and finally chose a claw machine that looked relatively easy to use. She dropped in a coin and nervously manipulated the claw, trying to grab the blue Stitch doll she had set her eyes on. However, things did not go as smoothly as expected. Although Yi Shihan had carefully adjusted the position and angle of the claw, every time it came to the crucial moment, the claw would fail, always suddenly loosening just as it was about to touch the doll, causing it to slip away from her. Oops, that was close. Yi Shihan angrily clapped her hands, her face full of frustration. Jiang Chen saw this and quickly came forward to comfort her. It's okay, just try a few more times, maybe you'll get it next time. Hearing Jiang Chen's words, Yi Shihan suddenly regained her confidence. She nodded and threw in another coin. As a result, she tried again and again, but still failed. Sigh, forget it, I still can't get it. Yi Shihan sighed and was about to give up. Let me try. Jiang Chen then walked up to the crane machine, threw in a coin, and the machine started up immediately. The claw began to move slowly. Jiang Chen kept his eyes on the stuffed toy inside the claw machine, and touched the button lightly with his finger, fine-tuning the position of the claw. When the claw moved directly above the stuffed toy, Jiang Chen decisively pressed the grab button. The claw slowly descended, precisely grabbing the stuffed toy's body. Then, he carefully controlled the claw to rise, and then steadily moved towards the exit. Wow, it looks promising. Someone next to him couldn't help exclaiming. Yi Shihan also nervously watched Jiang Chen's actions, her hands clasped together, afraid that Stitch would slip out of the claw again. Finally, under everyone's watchful eyes, the claw successfully brought Stitch to the exit. Jiang Chen gave it a gentle push, and Stitch fell out of the claw machine and landed firmly in the takeout slot. Great! Yi Shihan jumped up excitedly, went up to Jiang Chen and hugged his arm. You really got it. Jiang Chen smiled and patted Yi Shihan's head. Looks like my luck is not bad. Yi Shihan happily held the Stitch doll in her arms. This Stitch doll is so cute, thank you, Junior. You're welcome, I'm glad you like it. Jiang Chen said, thinking. Are women's minds really that simple nowadays? They get so happy just from grabbing a doll. In fact, Yi Shihan certainly did not lack a doll, she just wanted to experience the thrill of having a doll grabbed up. The pleasure brought on by the combined secretion of dopamine and endorphins seemed to have been experienced by Yi Shihan only in the bar that day. The two left the Claw Crane game shop with the captured Stitch in their arms, full of joy. As soon as they walked out of the shop, they suddenly saw a few middle-aged men in suits walking from the opposite direction. Seeing one of the familiar faces, Yi Shihan's face instantly changed. She took 2 steps back and stammered. Dad, why are you here? It turned out that these men were Yi Shihan's father Yi Feng and his subordinates. When Yi Feng saw Lan Ruoshi for the first time, his expression was a little surprised, and then he saw Jiang Chen next to his daughter, and his face instantly darkened. I just finished dinner with a client, why aren't you home yet so late? I was shopping with a friend. Yi Shihan's expression was a little unnatural, as if she had been caught doing something bad. Friend, what kind of friend is he? Why haven't I met him before? Yi Feng kept staring at Jiang Chen, as if he wanted to eat him alive. If looks could kill, Jiang Chen would have died 1,000 times already. At this moment, Yi Shihan walked up to him, hugging his arm like a spoiled child. Dad, why are you being so serious? You're scaring my junior. Every father finds it hard to resist the coquettish advances of their daughter, and Yi Feng was no exception. He tilted his head back and asked with a look of arrogance. He's your junior? Yes, let me introduce you, he's my junior from Jingzhou University. Jiang Chen saw this and quickly went up to him and offered to shake hands. Hello, uncle, my name is Jiang Chen. Yi Feng sneered and prepared to give Jiang Chen a hard time. Before going into business in this city, he was a professional bodybuilder and his strength was second to none. He shook Jiang Chen's hand, squeezing it hard, with the intention of embarrassing him in public. Jiang Chen didn't want his hard-earned cabbage to be trampled on by a pig, and even if it was going to be trampled on, he had to choose the fattest pig. But something unexpected happened. Although Jiang Chen's right hand was firmly squeezed, his expression remained calm, not affected at all. What's going on? Yi Feng hesitated for a moment and used even more strength, but Jiang Chen still didn't react. He could feel that the kid across from him seemed to be teasing him, and that he wasn't even exerting any effort. Nima, this is not scientific. Yi Feng was at a loss for an explanation. Jiang Chen really wasn't exerting any effort. After acquiring top-level combat techniques, his control over his body had reached the limits of human possibility, and he could easily handle a mere Yi Feng. Uncle, can you let go now? Jiang Chen reminded him, and then exerted a little force. SSSHHHH. Yi Feng let out a gasp, feeling as if his bones were about to be crushed. He quickly pulled his hand away. Very good, very admirable. Jiang, since you are a friend of Shirhan's, how about having dinner together sometime? Okay, uncle, I'm fine with that. Jiang Chen agreed with a calm face, but Yi Shirhan was unhappy. Dad, why are you having dinner with my junior? It's like interrogating a criminal. Yi Feng raised his eyebrows. I say, you little brat, are you itching for a spanking? Chapter 21, Body Strengthening Potion. The Yi family has very strict household rules. Yi Feng advocates the idea that only through discipline can one achieve filial piety. Although Yi Shirhan is a girl, she is not spared from discipline. Upon hearing this, Yi Shirhan quickly hid behind Jiang Chen. Dad, please say what you want to say, don't get physical. Jiang Chen saw this and secretly covered his mouth. I never thought this father and daughter pair would be so funny. Usually, the aloof and arrogant Meishi, the schoolmate, would never be so ashamed. Then it's settled, Xiao Jiang, find an opportunity and I'll treat you to dinner. No, that's not possible. How can I let you treat me? I'll make the arrangements. Yi Feng nodded upon hearing this, thinking to himself that this kid is quite resourceful. I'll have to find out more about him. He looked at the Vacheron Constantine on his wrist and said, Maisaki, you must be home before 10 o'clock. I will ask the nanny to report to me. I know, Dad, I will be home on time, you go ahead. Yi Shirhan answered very reluctantly, then urged his father to go. Yi Feng had no choice but to take his subordinates and left with many regrets. After this little incident, the two's interest in shopping was greatly reduced. Jiang Chen put his hands together and said helplessly, Let's go. It's already 9:30, I'd better take you home. Okay, underscore. Although Yi Shirhan was a little reluctant inside, she didn't dare disobey her father. So Jiang Chen drove the Koenigsegg and took Yi Shirhan home. Senior, where do you live? It's just south of Jingzhou, near the southern mountainous area. Okay, hold on tight. Jiang Chen heard this and started the car. He knew that the south was the wealthy area of Jingzhou, and the area near the southern mountains was full of villas, each of which was worth a lot of money. He gently pressed the accelerator, and the Koenigsegg sped away, quickly blending into the night. Soon, an elegant European-style two-story villa came into view. The exterior of the villa was made of beige stone, and the years had not left much of a mark on it, but instead added a touch of calmness and solemnity. In front of the villa, a carefully manicured lawn glowed faintly in the moonlight, with a few exquisite landscape trees scattered among it, adding a touch of elegance. Jiang Chen parked the car steadily in the parking space in front of the villa and turned off the engine. Senior, we're home. Jiang Chen held out his hand, ready to unbuckle Yi Shirhan's seatbelt. Yi Shirhan's heartbeat couldn't help but accelerate. She tilted her head slightly, and their gazes met. Their eyes met, and an indescribable, ambiguous atmosphere filled the air, causing both their hearts to beat faster. At this delicate moment, Yi Shirhan's face flushed with a hint of red, and she lowered her head nervously and expectantly, her long hair gently falling to her shoulders. Just as the distance between the two of them was about to shorten to the point where they could touch each other's lips, Jiang Chen's phone suddenly rang. I'm like a fish in your lotus pond. If this were the plot of some other brain-dead novel, it is likely that the kiss would never happen. But Jiang Chen did the opposite. Shit, who is so annoying? He hung up the phone and threw it out of the car window. Don't worry about it, Shuijia, come on, let's continue. Yi Shirhan froze for a moment, then she was amused by Jiang Chen's antics and burst out laughing. After the laughter died down, she gently bit her lower lip, gathered her courage, and made a move that surprised both of them. Yi Shirhan leaned slightly forward, closed her eyes, and pressed her lips against Jiang Chen's. The kiss was shallow, but it was enough to send ripples through both of their hearts. Jiang Chen was stunned for a moment, and then a flash of surprise appeared in his eyes. After the kiss, Yi Shurhan's cheeks flushed again, and she shyly lowered her head, her long hair concealing her blushing face. Senior, you. Jiang Chen wanted to say something, but he didn't know how to start. Yi Shurhan looked up and interrupted him. Don't speak, I know what I'm doing. Jiang Chen, thank you for keeping me company today, I had a lot of fun. After saying that, she pushed open the car door, got out gracefully, and walked towards her villa. Ding, Yi Shurhan's strategy progress has reached 85%. Reward a bottle of body enhancement potion. Body enhancement? At this time, there was an extra small medicine bottle in Jiang Chen's pocket. He took it out and placed it in the palm of his hand. He saw that the bottle was filled with a crystal clear blue liquid. Looks like I have to hurry home and try the effect. Jiang Chen started the Koenigsegg and impatiently returned to the Jingzhou Bay villa. After returning home, he first went into the bathroom to rinse off, then stood in front of the mirror with his shirt off. At this time, Jiang Chen's figure was slightly thin, with a height of 185 centimeters and a weight of only 150 pounds. He shook his head and said, "It is true that I am a bit skinny. No wonder Yi Shuejia called me skinny dog. Let's see how this body enhancement potion works." Early 30s standing outside the door. The young woman outside the door was wearing a low-cut black lace dress, and her long, slender, fair legs were faintly visible as the skirt fluttered gently. Her figure is extremely elegant with a protruding belly and a round butt, and every detail reveals the charm and sexiness of a mature woman. The young woman's face is also stunning, with eyebrows like a crescent moon, eyes like autumn water, and red lips slightly tilted upwards, outlining an alluring curve. When Jiang Chen opened the door, the young woman's gaze naturally fell on him. "Oh, right, sorry. I didn't see anything." A flash of surprise crossed her eyes, and then she quickly covered her eyes, but left a gap between her fingers, taking in the full view of Jiang Chen. "Oh my god, this little puppy is so handsome, and his body is amazing. Oh no, I've lost my temper." It was only then that Jiang Chen reacted, and he realized that he had forgotten to put on a shirt. He scratched his head awkwardly. "I'm sorry, please wait a moment." After saying this, Jiang Chen hurriedly went into the cloakroom and changed into a clean t-shirt, but it still couldn't cover the bulging muscles. "May I ask who you are?" The young woman was stunned, and then a blush rose to her face. She opened her red lips slightly and said with a slightly trembling voice, "Hello, I'm your neighbor from Villa 6 next door. My name is Fu Meilin. I saw that someone suddenly moved in here, so I was curious and came to take a look." Jiang Chen also noticed the young woman's unusual appearance. He secretly gloated to himself, thinking that his enhanced physique really had a considerable killing power. He smiled and nodded, saying, "So you're the neighbor. Come on in." Fu Meilin nodded slightly, then followed Jiang Chen into the villa. She looked around first, and not only did she praise, it really lives up to its reputation as Villa Number 1. Both the layout and the decorations are much more upscale than my place. You're too kind, Meilin. Come, have some tea. Jiang Chen brewed a cup of fine Maojian tea for Fu Meilin, and the two of them began chatting. "By the way, Jiang Chen, what kind of work do you do?" "I'm not working at the moment, I'm still in school." Fu Meilin's beautiful eyes flashed with surprise at this. "You're still a student? You're really young and accomplished, living in Villa 1 at such a young age. I'm really ashamed of myself." "Meilin, you're too kind. My family bought this building for me." Jiang Chen made an excuse. Of course, he wouldn't say that it was a system reward. That's still amazing. You were born at the end of someone else's life. Not at all. By the way, Meilin, what do you do? I work at Red Curtain Investment Company as the Director of Human Resources. That's amazing, too. You've become a senior executive at such a young age. Young? I've already been married once, and my daughter is 4 years old. As soon as the subject of marriage came up, Fu Meilin's eyes dimmed instantly. But I met the wrong person, and we're now divorced. I'm raising my daughter on my own. Jiang Chen was a little surprised. He thought Fu Meilin looked like she had just graduated from university at most, and he didn't expect her to have a child already. But she's a proper sexy young woman. At this point, Jiang Chen realized why so many people like to pretend to be Cao Cao online, and they brag about the backbone of Jianan and the legacy of Wei Wu. A wife like Fu Meilin, who is fair-skinned, beautiful, and has a great figure. Who wouldn't be confused? Ahem, I really didn't expect it. I thought you were in your early 20s, Sister Meilin. You're so sweet, little brother. Fu Meilin said, covering her mouth and laughing. I'm almost 30, and compared to you, I'm practically an old aunt. Ha, Sister Meilin, you're being a little bit of a Versailles saying that. You're not old at all, better than those stars on TV. Obviously, Jiang Chen's high emotional intelligence response teased Fu Meilin very much, and the relationship between the two people quickly heated up. Fu Meilin thought to herself. Alas, it seems I was born too early. If I were a few years younger, I would definitely lower myself and go after Jiang Chen like crazy. Now I'm divorced and I have a daughter, I guess Jiang Chen definitely doesn't fancy me anymore. Although there is a saying that a woman is more attractive when she is older, and a man is more attractive when he is older, the age gap is indeed a big problem. Ding dong. Just as the two were chatting passionately, the doorbell in the living room rang again. Who is it? Why are there so many guests today? Jiang Chen got up and opened the door, only to find an old woman standing there, holding the hand of a very cute little girl. The little girl tilted her head and asked in a cute voice. Hello, big brother. Is my mom here? Hearing this familiar voice, Fu Meilin immediately got up from the sofa in the living room and hurried over. Nuan, why are you here? Mom. The little girl happily jumped up at Fu Meilin. Fu Meilin smiled, picked up the little girl and scratched her little nose. Why are you here? Madam, after returning from kindergarten, Xiaonuan found that you were not at home and insisted on coming out to look for you. I asked the security guard and they said that you came here to visit. The old woman next to them was the nanny Fu Meilin hired, who usually takes care of her daughter's daily life. Xiaonuan, in the future, will you wait for your mother at home obediently? Okay. By the way, let me introduce you. This is my daughter, Fu Xiaonuan. Xiaonuan, this is Jiang Chen. Say hello to him. Hello, big brother. Fu Xiaonuan said in a baby voice. She had a cute baby face with a bit of baby fat, a bit like the younger sister of Crayon Shinchan, Shizuku. Hello, Xiaonuan. Jiang Chen couldn't help reaching out and pinching Fu Xiaonuan's plump cheeks, and asked. How old are you? Fu Xiaonuan counted on her fingers for a long time and held up 3 fingers. 4 years old. Fu Meilin embarrassedly covered her forehead and laughed. She's not good at math, just like me. No, it's great that she can count at such a young age. Jiang Chen quite likes Fu Xiaonuan. Maybe every man wants to have a little sweetheart. At this moment, Fu Meilin suddenly remembered something. Right, Jiang Chen, when you have time, please come to my house for dinner, I'll show you what I can do. Meilin, you can cook? This was a bit of a surprise to Jiang Chen, who had thought that Fu Meilin was the type of woman who couldn't cook. My mom cooks really well, she can make sweet and sour pork, braised pork. Fu Xiaonuan counted on her fingers again. Okay, I'll definitely go someday. Chapter 23, Let's Have a Drink. After seeing off Fu Meilin, Jiang Chen felt a little lonely, so he called Gaoqiao Yumi and asked her to keep him company. Half an hour later, Gaoqiao Yumi hurried over, Shiraz from Australia. These were all the most prestigious brands from around the world, representing the unique flavors and exquisite craftsmanship of their respective regions. He carefully selected a bottle, then took the bottle and glass out of the cellar and back into the living room. Yumi Takahashi's eyes immediately lit up when she saw the red wine in Jiang Chen's hands. Master, this bottle of wine looks very expensive. She exclaimed. Jiang Chen smiled slightly. Of course, this is Romane Conti, a top winery in the world, with a superb taste. He skillfully poured a glass of red wine for each of them. The dark red wine swirled in the glass, like a blooming rose. The two people raised their glasses and touched them lightly, then each took a sip. Wow, it really is delicious. Yumi Takahashi exclaimed, it feels very rich in the mouth, with fruity and woody aromas, and an indescribable flavor. Jiang Chen nodded and smiled. That's right, I can't tell that Yumi has quite a good taste. Hee, thank you, master. Against the backdrop of the red wine, Yumi Takahashi's cheeks were tinged with a light blush. Jiang Chen sat on the sofa, chatting and laughing with Yumi Takahashi. As the wine glasses clinked together again and again, their eye contact became more frequent and the atmosphere gradually heated up. After a few glasses of wine, Yumi Takahashi's eyes had a slight drunk look in them. She smiled softly, her voice softer than usual. Master, this red wine is really delicious, I feel a little drunk. Jiang Chen looked at her flushed cheeks and dazed eyes, then gently took her hand and said tenderly. It's okay to get drunk, I'm here for you. The distance between the two of them closed imperceptibly, and Yumi Takahashi seemed to be infected by the ambiguous atmosphere. She boldly moved closer to Jiang Chen, almost able to feel each other's breath. "Master, do you know? I've never been happier than I am right now." Takahashi Yumi's voice trembled. Jiang Chen gently stroked the back of her hand and whispered, "Want to be happier?" "Yes." At this moment, the light in the living room seemed to have become softer, and the shadows of the two intertwined on the wall, as if foreshadowing the story about to unfold. "Okay, just a moment." Jiang Chen got up, drew the curtains, then picked Yumi up and walked towards the bed. But, add bookshelf, add queue. The next day, Jiang Chen woke up confused, and the system's prompt sounded in his head. Ding, detected 1% increase in Yumi Takahashi's strategy level, reward ownership of a shop in the CBD commercial street in Jingzhou. An entire commercial street? Jiang Chen was a little surprised. You have to know that the CBD area of Jingzhou City is where every inch of land is worth its weight in gold. However, the annual rent for an ordinary shop is also hundreds of thousands of yuan, not to mention buying it. The value of this entire commercial street is estimated to be at least several hundred million. "Wake up, Yumi, the sun is shining on your butt." Jiang Chen nudged Yumi Takahashi, who was sleeping next to him in a daze. "I'll take you to a nice place." Chapter 24. Then don't blame us for being rude. "Where are we going, master?" "I haven't slept enough yet." Yumi Takahashi rubbed her sleepy eyes and asked in a sweet voice. Jiang Chen patted her perky buttocks and laughed. "Just follow me and you'll find out." "Okay." Yumi Takahashi obediently got up and got ready. Jiang Chen then drove the Koenigsegg and took Yumi Takahashi in the direction of the CBD Commercial Street. Jingzhou CBD Commercial Street is located in the heart of Jingzhou City and is one of the city's most prosperous commercial areas. There are tall buildings lining both sides of the street, with glass curtain walls shining in the sun and an endless stream of pedestrians. Jiang Chen drove the Koenigsegg slowly into this bustling commercial street. The scene outside the car window was like a flowing scroll painting, with shops of various brands, exquisite window displays, and colorful advertising boards coming into view one after the other. There are many internationally renowned brands here, from high-end fashion to exquisite accessories, from electronic products to gourmet restaurants. Everything is here. It's overwhelming. Jiang Chen parked the car in front of an empty shop and walked in with Yumi Takahashi. "Yumi, what do you think of this place?" Yumi Takahashi was surprised and covered her mouth. "Master, you want to rent this shop for me to open a shop?" Jiang Chen nodded, without revealing that the shop was his own. "This place is really busy, and the rent must be very expensive." "Don't worry about the rent. Just tell me if you like it or not." "I like it, I really like it." Yumi Takahashi walked around excitedly, repeatedly examining the structure of the shop, pondering in her heart how she would open a shop. "If I could open a Japanese restaurant here, it would definitely be very popular." Yumi Takahashi walked into the kitchen and found that there was a whole set of brand new high-end kitchen equipment inside. It was clear that the shop had been intended for a restaurant, but for some reason it had been shelved. She winked and asked, "Master, are you hungry? Yumi will cook something for you." "Oh? You're going to show me your cooking skills?" Yumi Takahashi playfully stuck out her tongue. "Yes, you haven't tried my cooking yet." Rumbling. At this moment, Jiang Chen's stomach also happened to cry out. "Okay, let's try your cooking." Then, "Master, wait a moment while I go to the supermarket next door to buy some ingredients." After saying this, Yumi Takahashi hurriedly ran out and returned a short while later with bags and packages in her hands. "I'm going to start cooking." Yumi Takahashi began to get busy. First, she sliced the fresh salmon she had bought into thin slices and then carefully arranged them on an exquisite porcelain plate. Then she took out some seaweed and skillfully rolled up the sushi rolls. "Master, try this salmon sashimi. I specially selected the fresh ingredients for you." Yumi Takahashi handed a plate of exquisite salmon sashimi to Jiang Chen and looked at him expectantly. Jiang Chen picked up a slice of salmon and put it in his mouth. The delicious taste instantly blossomed on his taste buds. He nodded approvingly. It's really good, the fish is really fresh." After receiving Jiang Chen's affirmation, Yumi Takahashi's face broke into a childlike smile. She served another plate of sushi rolls. "This is sushi I made using a family recipe, master, please try it." Jiang Chen picked up a sushi roll and savored it. The aroma of the seaweed, the softness of the rice, and the freshness of the fish combined perfectly, and he couldn't help but exclaim, It's so delicious, Yumi, you're really talented. Yumi Takahashi felt a sense of accomplishment when she heard Jiang Chen's praise. She felt immensely satisfied as she watched Jiang Chen eat with relish. The two of them enjoyed the food and chatted away. At that moment, there was a commotion at the door. Jiang Chen and Yumi Takahashi looked towards the door at the same time and saw a group of burly men dressed in black knocking on the doors of the shops in the shopping street, their attitude extremely arrogant. "Hey, boss, it's time to pay this month's protection money." A man in charge, with a hideous scar on his face, was yelling at the owner of a shop. The shop owner looked troubled. "Brother, business has been bad this month. Can you give me a few more days? Give you more time? Do you think Qingyun Society does charity work?" The scarred man sneered, slapped the table, and said, "If I don't get the money today, you won't be able to open your shop." Passers-by stopped to watch, but no one dared to intervene. Qingyun Society's reputation in Jingzhou City was far-reaching, and no one was unaware of their ruthlessness. Even the police could do nothing about them. "It's that Qingyun Society again." Jiang Chen's eyes flashed with coldness. He stood up and prepared to go out and meet with these members of Qingyun Society. "Master, be careful." Yumi Takahashi worriedly held Jiang Chen's sleeve. "Don't worry, I'll be back soon." Jiang Chen gently patted her hand to indicate that she didn't need to worry. Jiang Chen walked out of the shop and walked straight towards the group of Qingyun gang members. "Hey, kid, who are you? Stay out of our business." The scarred man threatened viciously when he saw Jiang Chen approaching. "I'm the new owner of this shop." Jiang Chen looked at them coldly. "Are you here to collect protection money?" "Ha, so you're the new owner, that's even better. Hurry up and pay the protection money. We, the Qingyun gang, will keep your shop safe and sound." The scarred man laughed loudly and held out his hand to demand money. Jiang Chen, however, stood motionless, staring at him coldly. "What if I don't pay?" "Don't pay?" The scarred man's smile instantly froze on his face. He waved his hand, and several burly men behind him immediately surrounded him. "Then don't blame us for being rude." Chapter 25, Who says this is your territory? As soon as the words fell, several burly men pounced on Jiang Chen. The several burly men were burly and muscular, and it was obvious that they were the type who fought and brawled a lot. They swung their fists, with a whistling sound, and smashed them down hard on Jiang Chen. However, Jiang Chen's eyes flashed with a fierce light as he faced the approaching burly men. His body did not move, and it was only when the several strong men closed in that he suddenly exerted himself. The first to rush at Jiang Chen was a bald strong man, who swung his pot-sized fists and aimed straight for Jiang Chen's face. Jiang Chen slightly sidestepped, easily avoiding the punch, while his right hand reached out like lightning, clasping the opponent's wrist and twisting it with all his strength. The strong man let out a scream, and his entire body was carried along by Jiang Chen, and he fell heavily to the ground. Immediately afterwards, another burly man sneaked up behind Jiang Chen and tried to hug him around the waist. Jiang Chen seemed to have eyes in the back of his head. With a spin kick, he kicked the heel of his foot hard at the opponent's knee. There was only a crack sound, and the burly man's knee snapped, and he screamed and fell to his knees. Then he flashed, bypassing the siege of several other burly men at an incredible speed, and appeared behind them. Bang! 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 With a few dull thuds, several burly men fell to the ground, moaning in pain. Their faces showed signs of shock, as if they had seen a ghost. The scarred man was also stunned, looking at the scene in disbelief. You have to understand that the several subordinates he brought with him are all good fighters in the Qingyun Society, and they have never lost a fight. However, today, they were so vulnerable in front of Jiang Chen. Who are you?" the scarred man asked, his voice trembling. Jiang Chen, however, did not answer his question, but walked slowly up to him and looked at him coldly. "Go back and tell your boss that this shopping street no longer needs the protection of the Qingyun Society. If he has any complaints, he can come and see me in person." After saying this, Jiang Chen turned around and prepared to leave. However, the scarred man suddenly got up from the ground, picked up an iron rod, and smashed it hard at the back of Jiang Chen's head. "Master, be careful." Yumi Takahashi saw the scene in the shop and screamed in horror. However, Jiang Chen seemed to have eyes in the back of his head, and without looking back, he reached out and grabbed the iron rod in the scarred man's hand with pinpoint accuracy. Then, he gave it a hard twist and directly twisted the iron rod into a twisted shape. Ah! The scarred man let out a miserable scream and let go of the iron rod in his hand. His eyes were filled with fear, as if he saw death beckoning to him. Jiang Chen gave him a cold stare, then threw the twisted iron rod on the ground and kicked the scar-faced man in the stomach. Ow! The scar-faced man was kicked several meters away like a broken sack, covering his stomach and howling heart-rendingly. You just wait, call someone quickly. He struggled to his feet and roared at his subordinates, who were groaning on the ground. What are you waiting for? Hurry up and call someone. One of the strong men took out his mobile phone despite the pain, dialed a number, and said in a trembling voice, "Boss, we were beaten up while collecting protection money. Please come and save the situation." A low voice came from the other end of the line. What? Who beat you up? I don't know. The opponent was a very capable young man. You useless idiots. If you can't even handle something this simple, what's the point of having you around? Don't get angry, boss. The other guy was really strong, we were no match for him. The burly man explained. Okay, cut the crap, just tell me where you are and I'll be right there. The other person said impatiently. The burly man quickly reported the location of the shopping mall and hung up. Less than 10 minutes later, a loud screeching noise could be heard and several black cars pulled up at the intersection of the shopping mall. The car doors opened and a group of men in black suits got out. They all had stern faces and fierce eyes, and they were clearly not good guys. Leading the group was a middle-aged man. He was tall and had a strong face, and there was an air of authority about him. He was the head of the Qingyun Society, Zhao Tianyang. Zhao Tianyang and his men quickly walked into the commercial street and saw the scar-faced man and his men, who were sitting on the ground, dazed and bruised. What happened? Zhao Tianyang asked with a frown. The scar-faced man gave a detailed account of what had happened, and finally said with clenched teeth. Chief, you have to do something for me. That kid is so arrogant, he doesn't give a damn about our Qingyun society. Zhao Tianyang's face grew even more gloomy after hearing this. His Qingyun society has been around for many years in this area. Except for last month, when Du Xiaodong, one of the 3 big hallmasters, was beaten up by an unknown young man, no one has ever dared to provoke them like this. Where is that kid now? Zhao Tianyang asked. He should still be in the commercial street. After he beat me up a while ago, he turned into a shop. The scarred man recalled. Zhao Tianyang looked up and sure enough, he saw a young man standing in the doorway of a shop not far away. He was standing with his arms folded, his gaze calmly watching this way, as if he had known they were coming a long time ago. Is that him? Zhao Tianyang asked, pointing at Jiang Chen. Yes. That's him. The scarred man said with clenched teeth, Chief, you must be careful. That kid is very strong, we are no match for him at all. However, Zhao Tianyang did not take his words to heart. As one of the hall masters of the Qingyun Society, he naturally had extraordinary strength and skills. Zhao Tianyang won the championship in his first free fight in Southeast Asia in his early years, and then defeated the Japanese heavy artilleryman Lei Long. He went on to defeat all the karate masters in Japan for several years in a row and won the All-Japan Free Fighting Championship. However, as he grew older, his body gradually could not keep up, so he chose to retire and return to China to join the Gang Qingyun Society and pursue a second career. You bunch of losers. You wait here and see how I'll fix him. Zhao Tianyang said, then strode towards Jiang Chen. As he got closer, a powerful aura emanated from him, as if he were about to crush everything around him. However, Jiang Chen didn't seem to feel this aura, still standing with his arms folded, his gaze calmly fixed on him. Zhao Tianyang walked up to Jiang Chen and stopped, looking him up and down before asking coldly. You're the one who beat up my men? Jiang Chen glanced at Zhao Tianyang and said indifferently. Yes, it was me. Zhao Tianyang's eyes flashed with anger. He didn't expect Jiang Chen to admit so frankly. Do you know whose territory this is? How dare you make trouble here? Are you tired of living? Zhao Tianyang threatened. However, Jiang Chen remained expressionless. He laughed lightly and said, Oh? Is this your territory? I didn't know. If it's not mine, is it yours? Are you the boss here, meddling in other people's business? Jiang Chen smiled slightly upon hearing this. Coincidentally, I really am the boss here. Upon hearing this, Zhao Tianyang's face revealed a sneering smile. You say you're the boss here? What a joke. I, Zhao Tianyang, have been around this area for many years, so how is it that I've never seen you before? Jiang Chen was not angry, but said calmly. Believe it or not, but I did just buy this shopping street. Zhao Tianyang's eyebrows shot up, clearly not believing Jiang Chen's words. Just then, Jiang Chen suddenly took out his phone and dialed a number. "Hello, it's me, Jiang Chen. There's something going on over here at the shopping street, so you come over and deal with it." Chapter 26, Don't You Dare Touch Me. After saying that, Jiang Chen hung up the phone. Zhao Tianyang looked at Jiang Chen's actions and a trace of doubt flashed in his eyes. He wasn't sure what Jiang Chen was up to, but his intuition told him that this young man seemed to be more than he appeared to be. In less than 5 minutes, a sound of hurried footsteps could be heard. The person in charge of the commercial street, a middle-aged fat man, ran over panting. "Jiang. Mr. Jiang, you were looking for me?" The middle-aged fat man named Wang Qiu is the person in charge of the commercial street. He also just learned that the commercial street was acquired by a mysterious buyer, and the buyer is called Jiang Chen. Upon seeing Jiang Chen, Wang Qiu immediately asked respectfully. Jiang Chen nodded and pointed at Zhao Tianyang and said, "This person says he doesn't believe I am the owner here, so you explain it to him." Upon hearing this, Wang Qiu immediately turned his head and looked at Zhao Tianyang. "Chief Zhao, this person is indeed our new boss of the shopping mall, Mr. Jiang Chen." Zhao Tianyang's face suddenly changed when he heard Wang Qiu's words. He didn't expect that this young man was really the boss here. Zhao Tianyang was at a loss for words and didn't know what to say. He had previously vowed that this was his territory, but as a result, he was slapped in the face in the blink of an eye. Jiang Chen looked at Zhao Tianyang's embarrassed expression and secretly sneered inwardly. "Zhao Tangju, do you have anything to say now?" Jiang Chen asked with a smile, looking at Zhao Tianyang. Zhao Tianyang took a deep breath and tried to calm down a little. He knew that this matter could not be settled well today. Not only was this young man powerful, but his background also seemed to be complicated. If he could not calm this young man down today, then his authority in this area would be greatly undermined in the future. Thinking about this, a fierce look flashed in Zhao Tianyang's eyes. "Fine. Since you are the boss here, I will give you face today, but you hit my people, and this matter cannot be settled like this." Jiang Chen's eyebrows shot up upon hearing this. "Oh? So what do you want?" "Very simple." Zhao Tianyang said, sticking out 3 fingers, 3 million. "As long as you pay 3 million as compensation, I will not pursue this matter any further." Hearing Zhao Tianyang's outrageous demand, Jiang Chen did not get angry, but instead laughed. He had long known that Zhao Tianyang was a greedy and shameless person. To deal with such a person, one must be ruthless. You have to trample him underfoot before he will be afraid. 3 million? You really dare to ask for that? What if I don't pay? If you don't pay, I can't guarantee that my brothers will listen. If you lose an arm or a leg later, don't blame me. Ha, it's not certain who will lose an arm or a leg later. Zhao Tianyang was completely enraged by Jiang Chen's attitude. He shouted, "Kid, you're looking for death." With that, he swung a punch at Jiang Chen. The punch was powerful and heavy, with a whistling sound, as if it were going to kill Jiang Chen with one blow. However, Jiang Chen remained unmoved. He flicked his body slightly and easily avoided Zhao Tianyang's punch. At the same time, he reached out with his right hand, accurately grabbed Zhao Tianyang's wrist, and then twisted it hard. "Ah!" Zhao Tianyang let out a scream, his face instantly turning pale, and cold sweat covering his forehead. He felt as if his wrist had been caught in a vice, the pain was unbearable, and the force was constantly eroding his body. "Let go of me!" Zhao Tianyang cried out in horror. However, Jiang Chen had no intention of letting go. He looked at Zhao Tianyang coldly and said, "Is this what you call strength? This is really disappointing." With that, he suddenly threw his hand with all his strength, sending Zhao Tianyang flying. Bang! Zhao Tianyang fell heavily to the ground with a dull sound. Seeing this, his subordinates exclaimed in alarm and quickly gathered around to check on Zhao Tianyang's condition. Jiang Chen, on the other hand, looked at the scene in front of him with a firm grip on his arms. "Master! Are you okay? Are you hurt?" the subordinates asked in a flurry. Zhao Tianyang spat out a mouthful of old blood, struggling to get up from the ground. His face became hideous, his eyes full of anger and murderous intent. He stared viciously at Jiang Chen and said with gritted teeth, "Kid, you're dead. Today, no matter what, I'll make you see blood." With that, he swung his hand, and his men surrounded Jiang Chen. "Stop! Just as Zhao Tianyang's men surrounded Jiang Chen and a scuffle was about to break out, suddenly, a sound of hasty footsteps came from afar. Then, a group of burly men wearing black suits and sunglasses barged into the scene. They moved in unison, and it was clear that they were highly trained professional bodyguards. They quickly and orderly formed a circle to protect Jiang Chen. Escorted by the bodyguards, a middle-aged man slowly walked out. He was tall and had a stern face. His eyes were sharp as an eagle's. It was Jiang Long, Jiang Chen's bodyguard in charge. Young Jiang. Jiang Long bowed deeply in front of Jiang Chen. Jiang Chen had previously instructed him not to send too many people to follow him, so as not to disturb him from acting cool and thus miss out on the system's rewards. Therefore, Jiang Long had to arrange for 1 or 2 people to be responsible for protection from afar every day, while the others were all within 10 minutes distance at all times, so that they could arrive at any time. So, as soon as he learned that Jiang Chen had encountered gang members provoking him, Jiang Long immediately brought someone over. Jiang Chen nodded and said, "You've come just in time. I'll leave this to you." "Yes, Mr. Jiang." Jiang Long looked around the scene, his gaze lingering on Zhao Tianyang for a moment before he spoke coldly. "You have a lot of nerve, daring to touch even Mr. Jiang. You really don't know when to die." Zhao Tianyang was shocked by Jiang Long's aura. He subconsciously took a step back and yelled menacingly. "Where are you from? This is our Qingyun Society's territory, and I'm warning you to mind your own business." Upon hearing this, Jiang Long's mouth curled up in a sneer. "Ah, Qingyun Society? So what?" With that, he suddenly waved his hand, and the bodyguards immediately took action, taking control of the members of Qingyun Society one by one and forcing them to kneel on the ground. Zhao Tianyang finally panicked when he saw this. He tried to struggle, but was quickly firmly restrained by 2 bodyguards. He looked at Jiang Long and Jiang Chen in horror, his anger replaced by fear. "What do you want?" "I'm the head of the Qingyun Society. If you dare to touch me, the Qingyun Society won't let you go." Chapter 27, What's this kid's background? Zhao Tianyang threatened with a fierce appearance. However, Jiang Long seemed to have heard a joke. He looked at Zhao Tianyang contemptuously and said, "The head of the Qingyun Society? I'm sorry, I just cleaned up one a while ago," and he was so scared that he didn't even dare to fart. "Since you keep provoking us, I don't see the need for the Qingyun Society to exist anymore." He didn't finish his sentence, but the threat was clear. Zhao Tianyang was scared by Jiang Long's gaze. He heard about Du Xiaodong being crippled, and he never imagined that it was these people who did it. He knew that he had really kicked the iron plate this time. "So it was you guys who did it last time." At the same time, Jiang Chen also walked up to Zhao Tianyang. He looked down on the once mighty gang leader and said indifferently, "You think your Qingyun gang can walk around in Jingzhou? Unfortunately, you have chosen the wrong opponent. Jiang Long, take them away and treat them according to the rules." Jiang Long nodded slightly. "Yes, Mr. Jiang." Zhao Tianyang looked up at Jiang Chen, his eyes filled with fear. He knew that he was really finished this time. Not only had he lost face, he might also lose his life because of it. He couldn't help but begin to regret it in his heart. Why had he been so impulsive and provoked Jiang Chen in the first place? But now, it was too late to regret it. He could only hope that Qingyun Club would be able to come to his rescue, otherwise, he was afraid that he would really be done for here. However, Jiang Long's next words completely shattered his illusions. "Take them away." Jiang Long gave the order, and the bodyguards quickly escorted Zhao Tianyang and his men away from the scene. "Wait a minute, I need to make a call." Zhao Tianyang took out his phone and tried to call Qingyun Society boss Zhou Mingkuan for help. Pop! Jiang Long slapped him hard without mercy, knocking the phone out of his hand. "Still calling? Think about how you're going to take the beating. Take them away." Jiang Long said without further ado, and had Zhao Tianyang and the others dragged away. Slap! At this point, the merchants nearby applauded. "Good. Well done. These Qingyun gang scum deserve to be taken care of a long time ago. Yes, this young Jiang is really something, and his bodyguards are really awesome. We've had enough of being bullied by these gang members, and today someone finally stood up for us." The merchants' words of gratitude came one after the other, and they looked at Jiang Chen with full respect in their eyes. These gang members bullied and oppressed the market every day, doing all kinds of evil deeds. The merchants had long been suffering, but they were helpless. Today, Jiang Chen's appearance finally gave them hope. Jiang Chen listened to the merchant's words of gratitude and waved his hand, saying, "You don't need to be polite. Since I am the owner of this commercial street, I naturally have an obligation to protect everyone's safety and interests. From today onwards, if anyone from the Qingyun gang dares to come here and cause trouble, they will be slapping my face in my face, and I will never let them off lightly." Upon hearing this, the merchants cheered, and their respect for Jiang Chen grew even greater. Jiang Chen gave a slight smile and continued. "Moreover, to thank everyone for their continued support and cooperation, I have decided to reduce the rent for all users of the commercial street by 3 months. As soon as these words were spoken, the scene immediately erupted. "Really? Jiang Shao, are you serious? 3 months rent? That's just great. Mr. Jiang, you're truly our living Buddha." The merchants were so excited that they couldn't find the words to speak, and some were even crying with joy. For them, small business owners with little capital, 3 months' rent was undoubtedly a huge expense. And now, Jiang Chen had taken the initiative to reduce this cost for them, which was simply great news. Jiang Chen looked at the excited merchants and felt a sense of relief in his heart. He knew that although he would lose some money this time, he would gain the sincere gratitude and support of these merchants. And this goodwill and reputation will definitely bring him more rewards in the future. "Okay, everyone calm down. I will arrange for someone to deal with the rent reduction as soon as possible." Jiang Chen turned his head and asked, "Manager Wang?" Wang Xiu, with a beer belly, immediately woke up. "Yes, Mr. Jiang, don't worry, I will take care of this right away." "Ding, congratulations to the host for completing the hidden task eliminating violence and protecting the innocent, and the reward is 51% of the shares of Hongshu Capital." Hongshu Capital? This name is no stranger to Jiang Chen. He used to see it on the news all the time. You have to know that Hongshu Capital is one of the top investment institutions in Jiangdong province, managing tens of billions of dollars, and its subsidiaries have invested in countless companies. This has instantly raised Jiang Chen's personal wealth to a new level. Compared to stocks, luxury cars and mansions are just a drop in the bucket. I remember that the headquarters of the Mangrove Group is in Jingzhou City. I have to go and inspect it sometime. At this time, Jiang Chen's phone rang. It was Yi Shirhan calling. "Hey, did you miss me?" "Cut it out, I didn't." Yi Shirhan said with a false heart, "That Jiang Chen, do you have time right now?" "Why?" "My father wants to meet you." "Oh?" Jiang Chen was a little surprised. He didn't think Yi Feng, Yi Shirhan's father, would actually want to meet him. It seems like he's going to set a trap for him. "Sure, didn't we agree last time? Where do you want to meet?" "At the Jinsei Hotel." "Okay, I'll be right there." "Wait, Jiang Chen, come to Guiha Shopping Mall first." "I'll wait for you here." "Guiha Shopping Mall?" Jiang Chen didn't know what Yi Shirhan was up to. "Okay, wait for me a moment." After hanging up the phone, Jiang Chen instructed Yumi Takahashi. "Yumi, I have to deal with something, so you prepare for the opening of the store here first. Call if you need anything." Yumi Takahashi obediently nodded, still a little shaken by what had just happened. "Master, you have to be careful." "I know, don't worry." After saying that, Jiang Chen drove the Koenigsegg and sped off towards the Guiha shopping mall. Separately, Zhao Tianyang and the others limped back to the Qingyun Society headquarters after being severely punished by Zhang Long. He immediately reported the situation to the Qingyun Society boss Zhou Mingquan. "Pop!" Zhou Mingquan slammed the table, instantly furious. "That brat from last time again? What's his story?" Zhou Mingquan had asked someone to investigate Jiang Chen's background last time, but they had found nothing, of course, because the Jiang family had done a very good job of keeping secrets. This Jiang Chen brat was able to buy the shopping street, so he seems to have some background. "We can't let someone like him stay, we have to find someone to get rid of him quickly." Zhou Mingquan muttered to himself, then told his subordinate. "Go, find White Fox for me." The White Fox that Zhou Mingquan was talking about was the 13th ranked female assassin on the dark web. She had carried out countless assassination missions and had eliminated many of Qingyun Society's rivals for them. "Brother Kuan, are you sure you want to hire the assassin White Fox for such a trivial matter?" "Trivial? This Jiang guy has already eliminated 2 of my top generals. If I don't get rid of him, where will I put my pride?" "Yes, Brother Kuan, I'll contact her right away." Chapter 28, The Arrival of the Top-Notch Beauty Assassin. Not long after, a tall, beautiful woman with long flowing hair dressed in a tight black leather outfit walked into the office of the Qingyun Club headquarters. She was the assassin White Fox. As soon as White Fox walked in, everyone's attention was drawn to her. Not only was she beautiful, but her sexy figure was even more attractive. The tight leather outfit outlines her perfect figure, and her towering breasts seem to be bursting out of the confines of the leather. Her slender waist contrasts with her plump buttocks, which is full of temptation. Her long, straight legs seem to be walking on tiptoe with every step. White Fox looks pure and innocent, but also has a kind of languid elegance. This contradictory temperament is perfectly blended in her, and it is impossible for people to take their eyes off her. Although she is a killer, she exudes an irresistible sexiness that makes people feel both dangerous and unable to resist approaching her. Zhou Mingquan looked at White Fox as she walked in, and a flash of astonishment passed through his eyes. Although he had long coveted White Fox, he felt a pang of heartache when he heard that she had once snapped the kidneys of several men who had courted her. A woman like White Fox is to be admired from afar, not to be trifled with. Zhou Mingquan quickly regained his composure and said in a deep voice, "White Fox, you're here." White Fox gave a gentle smile and her voice was as pleasant as music from heaven. "Boss Zhou, what task do you need me to do?" Zhou Mingquan nodded and briefly explained the situation regarding Jiang Chen. After hearing this, a cold look flashed in White Fox's eyes, and the corner of her mouth curled up in a charming arc. "Okay, I'll take the job, but I want more money." "No problem, I'll give you a deposit of 1 million, and after the job is done, I'll give you another million." Boss Zhou is really generous. After saying that, White Fox turned around and left, leaving the room full of amazement and reverie. At this time, a young guy who didn't know White Fox came up to him. "Boss, this chick is a bit arrogant. She even dared to double-cross. Do you want me to find someone to get rid of her?" "Pop." Zhou Mingquan slapped him across the face. "You dare to provoke her? Do you know who she is? She can make you disappear with a fart. You ignorant fool." The young man covered his face in distress. He only thought that the White Fox was pretty, but he never imagined that she was so terrifying. Even the knowledgeable Boss Zhou was afraid of her. "That's enough, get out of here. Watch what you say next time." Zhou Mingquan snorted, "That guy, I'm a little angry right now, so it's the usual rules." "Yes, brother Kun, I'll arrange it for you right away." The story splits into two parts. Jiang Chen drove straight to Guihe shopping mall, while Yi Shirhan had been waiting at the entrance for a long time. Today, she had specially changed into a fiery red cheongsam. The snug-fitting cheongsam outlined her graceful figure to the fullest. The split design of the cheongsam, with each step she took, revealed her slender, fair legs, tantalizing the imagination. The belt tightly wrapped around her waist perfectly accentuated her slender figure, as if it could be gently held in one hand. Yi Shirhan's eyes flashed with a glimmer of anticipation when she saw Jiang Chen's car slowly approaching. She gently rearranged the hem of her cheongsam and walked up to him with an elegant gait. Jiang Chen got out of the car and saw Yi Shirhan at a glance. He had to admit that Yi Shirhan was really breathtakingly beautiful today. He walked quickly to Yi Shirhan's side, looked at her long legs, and said with a smile, "Senior, you're really pretty today." Upon hearing this, Yi Shirhan's face flushed slightly. She glared at Jiang Chen and said coquettishly, "You're so bad, you always want to take advantage of me." After saying that, she turned around and walked towards the mall, while Jiang Chen followed her with a smile. Yi Shirhan led Jiang Chen into the Guihao Mall, and the pair of sky-high heels on her feet produced a crisp sound on the polished marble floor. Jiang Chen followed behind her, his gaze unconsciously drawn to her graceful and curvaceous figure. He sighed with emotion. "I really was young and didn't know how good my senior was, mistaking my junior for a treasure. Senior Yi is really YYDS." After walking through several busy corridors, the two arrived in front of an elaborately decorated Armani store. The shop windows displayed the latest season's men's clothing, from suits to casual wear. Yi Shirhan stopped in her tracks and turned to Jiang Chen and said, "I can see that you usually dress too casually, so today is a good opportunity to pick out some decent clothes for you, so that later on my father doesn't pick and choose." Jiang Chen heard this and shrugged, smiling. "Okay, since you're so considerate, I'll be happy to oblige." The two walked into the store, and were immediately greeted by a welcoming salesperson. "Welcome to Armani, please come inside." The salesperson smiled and made an inviting gesture. "We have the latest men's collection in the store, feel free to look around." Yi Shirhan nodded and began to elegantly select clothes in the store. "Jiang Chen, come and have a look at this. Yi Shirhan picked up a dark-colored suit jacket and waved at Jiang Chen. Jiang Chen walked over and stood in front of the mirror. Yi Shirhan draped the suit jacket over his shoulders and carefully observed the effect. The cut of this suit is very flattering, and the color is also calm and atmospheric, which suits you very well. Jiang Chen looked at himself in the mirror and was also very satisfied. It's really not bad, and I feel more energetic as a whole. Then this one will do. Salesperson, please help us find some matching trousers and a shirt. Yi Shirhan said to the salesperson. The salesperson immediately left in response and returned a short while later with several pairs of trousers and shirts. Yi Shirhan carefully selected again and finally chose a matching set. Jiang Chen, go and try it on. Yi Shirhan handed the selected clothes to Jiang Chen. Jiang Chen took the clothes and went into the fitting room. A few minutes later, he came out wearing the whole Armani suit. The dark suit jacket matched the light-colored shirt and black trousers, making him look capable and elegant. So handsome. Yi Shirhan looked at Jiang Chen and a flash of amazement crossed her eyes. This suit is tailor-made for you. Jiang Chen was also very satisfied with his new look. Indeed, you have a good eye. Of course, my eye is always very accurate. Yi Shirhan smiled proudly. Okay, let's get this one. Guide, help us pay for it. The guide came over with a smile. Okay, please wait a moment, I'll take care of it for you. Then Yi Shirhan paid the bill generously and walked out of the Armani store with Jiang Chen, carrying the newly purchased clothes. Senior, you really spent a lot today. Jiang Chen laughed. It's just a small gift, as a thank you for accompanying me to dinner and shopping the other day. Yi Shirhan waved her hand generously. Then I'll accept it. Jiang Chen suddenly remembered that a doctor had told him before that he had a poor appetite and was suitable for soft food. At that time, he didn't believe it, but now he did. The feeling of eating soft food like this, especially eating soft food from beautiful women, was really delicious. Are we going to the Jinsei Hotel now? I have to buy your dad a gift in advance, right? Chapter 29, Your parents don't make money easily. Whether you buy it or not is fine, my dad doesn't care about gifts, he looks at character. Yi Shirhan glanced at Jiang Chen and said meaningfully. Jiang Chen was stunned, thinking. Shit, could it be that my senior really introduced me as her boyfriend to her dad? Then this meeting is just to meet the father-in-law? Hiss. Jiang Chen couldn't help but gasp. Although his schoolmate is fair-skinned, beautiful, has long legs, and has both looks and education, she is not going to get married, not in this lifetime. He still hasn't had enough fun yet. That won't do. You still need to have the basics. Does your father like to drink or smoke? Neither. He likes to drink tea. Drink tea? At this moment, Jiang Chen suddenly remembered that his family seemed to have a few cans of De Hong Pao tea, which was given to his father by some big shot. You have to know that tea of this level is hard to find on the market, and I don't know exactly how much it costs, but for my family, it's just a drop in the bucket. Wait a minute, I have some good tea at home, I'll have someone bring it over. After saying that, Jiang Chen called Fu Bo. Hey, Fu Bo, bring over 2 cans of our De Hong Pao. After a moment, Uncle Fu came before Jiang Chen with 2 cans of exquisitely packaged tea. Young master, here is the tea you asked for. Thank you, Uncle Fu. Jiang Chen took the tea can and examined it carefully. He saw an exquisite dragon and phoenix pattern carved on the tea can, and a label stuck to the can, as if it were an appraisal label or something. Well, it really is good tea. Jiang Chen couldn't help but praise it, and handed the tea canister to Yi Shirhan. Senior, what do you think of this tea? I think it's quite suitable for your father. Yi Shirhan took the tea canister and a surprised look flashed in her eyes. Although she didn't know anything about tea, she could also tell that this tea canister was extraordinary. What's more, she heard Jiang Chen say that this was his family's good tea, so it couldn't be bad. Wow, such an exquisite tea canister, the tea inside must also be superb. Yi Shirhan exclaimed, Jiang Chen, you're so thoughtful. Haha, I'm glad you like it. Jiang Chen said with a smile, then let's head to the Jinsei Hotel now. Okay. Yi Shirhan nodded, carefully placing the tea canister in her handbag. The two walked out of the Guiha shopping mall, Jiang Chen driving the Koenigsegg as he took Yi Shirhan in the direction of the Jinsei Hotel. Soon after, the two arrived in front of the Jinsei Hotel. Jiang Chen parked the car and walked into the hotel lobby with Yi Shirhan. The lobby was resplendent and extraordinary, and the two walked through the spacious lobby to the elevator. My father said he'll be waiting for us on the top floor. Yi Shirhan said. Jiang Chen nodded and pressed the elevator button. The elevator slowly ascended, and the mood of the two gradually became tense. After all, this meeting was different from usual, and Jiang Chen even felt a bit like meeting his father-in-law. The elevator door opened with a ding, and the two walked out and arrived at the top floor entrance. Yi Shirhan took a deep breath, pushed open the door and walked in, followed closely by Jiang Chen. As a 5-star luxury hotel, the dining environment at the Jinsi Hotel is naturally extremely luxurious. The table was covered in a white tablecloth, with silver cutlery neatly arranged. Through the tall floor-to-ceiling windows, one could overlook the entire beautiful city of Jingzhou. Jiang Chen and Yi Shirhan were led by the restaurant staff to a window seat. The burly man with the stern face in the seat was none other than Yi Shirhan's father, Yi Feng. You're here? Yi Feng didn't get up, but asked with a smile. That didn't reach his eyes. Hello, uncle. Jiang Chen greeted him with a smile. Well, sit. So Jiang Chen sat down gracefully, and Yi Shirhan sat close to him. Ahem. Seeing his precious daughter's actions, Yi Feng gave her a fierce glare. Yi Shirhan immediately reacted. Her father was jealous. So she quickly got up and went to Yi Feng's side to sit down again. The first thing Yi Feng did was to carefully examine Yi Chen from head to toe. It was too dark when they last met, so he didn't look closely. He wanted to see what this pig looked like that had hunched over his cabbage. Damn, he's quite handsome. Yi Feng couldn't help but be taken aback. He had to admit that Jiang Chen was much more handsome than he had been at a younger age, even more handsome than those young TV stars. No wonder his daughter was so infatuated. Well, the facial features are okay, and he has half the charisma of your old man. Sigma_angle. At this, Yi Shirhan, who had just taken a sip of tea, couldn't help but spit it out, thinking. I'm saying, Dad, you're a bit too narcissistic, aren't you? Thank you for the compliment, uncle. Jiang Chen politely responded, you really spent a lot of money, I'll treat this time. You're treating? Yi Feng snorted. Do you know how much it costs to have a meal at the Jinsi Hotel? I'm afraid it's not enough for your parents to work for a month. Yi Feng guessed that Jiang Chen's parents were just office workers. Even if they were in the system, in his eyes they were no different from working people. Dad. Yi Shirhan couldn't help but tug on the corner of his shirt, hinting that he shouldn't go too far. Although my family doesn't have much money, it's enough for a meal. Jiang Chen didn't argue with Yi Feng. Really? At this point, Yi Feng despised Jiang Chen's behavior very much, and had already linked him to those ungrateful, profligate spendthrifts. I'm telling you, young man, the money your parents earn is hard-earned. Do you know how hard it is for them to earn it? Doesn't it hurt when you spend money and feel guilty? Dad, stop. Yi Shirhan couldn't stand it anymore, quickly changed the subject and took out the 2 cans of Dahongpo from her bag. This is a gift from Jiang Chen for you. Humph, what gift? Let me see. It didn't matter if he didn't look, but as soon as he saw the exquisite packaging and the label on it, Yi Feng's eyes nearly popped out of his head. Sigma. This is the Wui Mountain Mother Tree Dahongpo. Where did you get it? Jiang Chen had long expected Yi Feng's reaction and laughed. They were all gifts from others to my father in the past. Knowing that you like to drink tea, I brought you 2 cans. Really? Yi Feng looked at the cans left and right. Although he was a tea lover, he had never seen such an exquisite tea as this Dahongpo from the mother tree, so he didn't dare to judge whether it was real or not. I said, Xiao Jiang, you're not going to fool me, are you? Chapter 30 Son-in-law, when are you two going to get married? Yi Feng felt something was wrong the more he thought about it. With Jiang Chen's family background, how could he collect such top-grade tea? I didn't realize that this kid not only likes to squander, but also has a strong sense of vanity. I guess he wanted to show off in front of me, but he didn't realize that this kind of tea doesn't even circulate on the market, and it backfired, didn't it? This tea is real. Before Jiang Chen could finish speaking, Yi Feng impatiently interrupted. Xiao Jiang, you young people must be down to earth in what you do, so that you can succeed, understand? Just like you, Uncle Yi, I was willing to work hard when I was young, and that's how I gained my position today. Now, no matter who I see in the entire Jingzhou city, I won't lower my head and be submissive, even if he is the mayor, Li Dekong. Before the wine was even drunk, Yi Feng started bragging. Jiang Chen didn't mind, but Yi Shirhan was a little embarrassed and whispered. Don't mind him, Junior. That's just how my dad is. It's okay, senior. Just let him talk a little more. Jiang Chen understood the temper of people who were used to being bosses and leaders. As the internet said, they not only like to lecture young people, but also like to stay at the company and work overtime. Because when he was at the company, the people under him would say things like, boss, leader, after you please, and leader, you have worked hard, to flatter him. But as soon as he left the office, no one would pamper them. The most common thing they heard was, old dang, go away, don't get in the way, and things like that. Yifeng then began his long-winded speech, telling the story of how he started his own business. Halfway through, a middle-aged man in a suit walked over from the next table and came up to Jiang Chen, whispering, "Excuse me for interrupting, but are you Master Jiang Chen?" Jiang Chen looked up and noticed that the man was a bit unfamiliar. "You are?" Before the middle-aged man could reply, Yifeng next to him stood up suddenly, extended his hands enthusiastically, and respectfully said, "Manager Yang, what a coincidence! You are?" The middle-aged man was taken aback and didn't recognize him. "You really are a forgetful person of importance. I'm Yifeng of the Yi Group. We have cooperated with your group, and I even toasted you at the last dinner." "Oh." The middle-aged man suddenly realized, "You said that. I do have some impression. Your company is in the building materials industry, right?" "Yes, you finally remembered." Seeing Yifeng bowing and scraping, Yi Shihan felt a little uncomfortable, thinking, "Dad, just now you said that you could not bow to the powerful, but now you are bowing to the powerful, aren't you slapping yourself in the face?" However, it was obvious that the middle-aged man was not very interested in Yifeng, and when he came to Jiang Chen, he bowed slightly and said, "I'm Yang Tan, manager of the business department of Jiang Chen Group. I met you a few years ago, and you look just like the CEO. "Oh, so you're from Jiang Chen Group." Jiang Chen didn't expect anyone here to recognize him. Yes. I saw you here, so I wanted to offer you a toast." "Do you mind, Mr. Jiang?" "Sorry, I'm not drinking today." "That's fine, you can just have some tea." Yang Tan finished speaking and raised his glass. "I'll drink it, you can do as you like." Then he gulped down the wine. Yifeng was shocked and opened his mouth wide when he saw the scene. "President Yang, what did you say?" "He is from Jiang Chen Group." Yang Tan was a little dumbfounded, thinking to himself, "You're having dinner with Jiang Xiao, and you don't even know his identity." But then Yang Tan thought, the Jiang family has always been low-key, and even though he is an executive of Jiang Chen Group, he has only met this young Master Jiang Chen once. Maybe the person didn't reveal his identity. "Yes, young Master Jiang is the only son of Jiang Zong of Jiang Chen Group, didn't you know?" Shocked. Petrified. Stunned. Yifeng and Yi Shihan were both shocked. How is that possible?" Yifeng muttered. "You have to know that Jiang Chen Group is one of the leading enterprises in China, and Jiang Jiangguo has repeatedly been ranked as the richest person in China. Although Yifeng's company has cooperated with Jiang Chen Group, it is only Party B, and the size is not comparable at all. What merit does his Yi family have that he can actually climb onto this high branch of the Jiang family?" "Jiang Xiao, no, Jiang Xiao, are you really the son of General Manager Jiang of Jiang Chen Group?" Jiang Chen nodded. "Uncle Yi, I don't want to tell too many people about this, and you shouldn't call me Jiang Xiao either, it feels a bit strange." "It's fine." Yifeng swallowed nervously, and he recalled the scene of lecturing in front of Jiang Chen just now, and he wished he could find a crack in the ground to crawl into. Yi Shihan's lips were slightly parted, thinking, "Oh my god, I only knew that Jiang Chen's younger brother had money, but I never imagined that he was actually the son of the richest man in China. This is unbelievable." "Young Master Jiang, I just came to toast you." "You go ahead, I won't disturb you." Yang Tan saw that the atmosphere was a bit awkward, so he quickly retreated. "Okay." Jiang Chen nodded without saying much. After Yang Tan left, it was Yifeng's turn to feel nervous. He sat back a bit stiffly in his seat, brewed a cup of tea for Jiang Chen, and handed it over with both hands. "Here, have some tea." After a moment, Yifeng suddenly asked, "Son-in-law, when are you planning to marry Shihan?" Pop. Jiang Chen had just taken a sip of tea, and it all sprayed onto Yifeng's face. Next to him, Yi Shihan also angrily said, "Dad, what are you talking about? Me and Yi Chen have not even confirmed our relationship yet." However, Yifeng was not angry at all, but instead laughed and pulled out a tissue to wipe it clean. "It's my fault. I was a bit premature in my considerations." Yifeng threw the tissue into the trash can and continued, But Shirhan, your mother and I got married when we were 18, and you were born when we were 20. You should seize the day when it comes to life's big events. Dad, can you really compare the past to the present? Yi Shirhan retorted, I feel like I'm still a child. Don't worry, you'll feel like a grown-up as soon as you get married. Jiang Chen, who was standing nearby, heard this and broke out in a cold sweat. He quickly waved his hands and said, Well, Uncle Yi, it's still too early to talk about marriage. I haven't known Miss Yi for long. Young people like novelty, so you have to seize the moment. Once the excitement has worn off, it won't be easy to get married again. After saying this, he felt that his actions were a bit like selling his daughter, so he quickly added, Ahem, I'm not rushing you. Relationships are a matter of following your heart and letting nature take its course. Jiang Chen nodded. I understand, Uncle Yi. Don't worry, I'll get along well with you and Sister Yi and communicate well. Hearing the word communicate, Yi Shirhan couldn't help but recall the night at the bar, and she instantly blushed. She pursed her lips, a little embarrassed. In the following time, Yi Feng kept on serving Jiang Chen with food, and kept calling him son-in-law, which made Jiang Chen feel so embarrassed that he quickly found an excuse to get away. Uncle Yi, that's enough for today. I have something to do, so excuse me.